Ready? All rise. We're going to say the pledge and have a moment of silence for Pearl Harbor. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Please be seated.
Councilmember Daniele?
Present.
Councilmember Ispan?
Present.
Supervisor Alva?
Here.
Councilmember Foreman?
Here.
Councilmember Rye?
Here. Okay, I want to make a couple amendments to the agenda. I want to amend resolution number 9 to remove the estimated cost.
Wait, what?
You got that?
Wait, what is that?
The one you asked me for, to remove the estimated cost for the resolution number 9.
Oh, resolution, I was looking at the wrong thing.
That's resolution. Then we're going to go consent. Number 1, we're going to remove the line that says subject to town attorney approval. Number 7, we're going to add a term that ends April 30th, 2023. And then number 16, we're going to add the ACA provision, the Affordable Care Act provision, which is 805D. I'll present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Any minutes? None? So next up will be the introduction of new employees. So anybody that's is going to be hired today by the Town of Fishkill, please come up to the podium and just tell us who you are and what department you're going to be working for. So just whoever's hired, please stand up and come to the podium. Don't be shy. There's nobody here? Okay. Next up will be privilege.
We have appointments.
Appointments?
Yeah.
Okay. Appointments are today? All right. Next up is privilege of the floor for general town items.
To introduce the people we're appointing.
No, they're not here.
No, the appointed people are not the hired people. So like my planning board appointment is not staying.
You want to do that?
It's not staying.
All right. So we're going to add the appointments today. We'll do this young man right here first. Come up to the podium and tell us what you're here for. Right
Right up to the microphone.
My name is Kevin O'Connell, and I'm here to join the planning board as an alternate. I've been invited and decided to accept the invitation.
Outstanding.
Tell everybody a smidge about your background, if you don't mind.
My background, German background, love soccer, IBM executive, retired after 33 years. Wanted to get involved in the community a little bit more than I was when I was working. So, and my wife is on the board of the Garden Club, and I'm on the board of the Southern Dutchess Country Club, and we're involved in a lot of different things together. So this was probably the most difficult way to join the add to the community, and I jumped at the chance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ron? Oh, this gentleman?
Hi, Douglas Deli Paoli. I've been with the zoning board as an alternate since March. I'm very excited to get an appointment tonight, if that happens, of course. I've been in the hotel industry, property management for about 35 years, and I'm a veteran of the United States Marine Corps.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
For your service.
Absolutely. Ron? You getting a big reappointed? The chair of the zoning board.
Sorry, I didn't know I had to come up here.
Why not?
Ron Davis, I'm right now the chairman of the zoning board, and I'm here to hopefully get reappointed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other appointees? Appointments? Nothing? All right. Next up would be privilege of the floor for general town items. Anybody have any questions about the town? Is the time to speak right now? Anybody? Okay. I have no comments right now. We'll start with Louise with liaison member reports. Have a We'll do Carmine. Carmine,
Yes.
ready? Come on.
Yeah, just a quick update. Most of the baseball fields are finished. We're just waiting on one of the tennis courts for some metal fencing that was on back order. Maybe Brendan can give us an update on that if we got that in yet. Playground, accessory park, playground equipment has been delivered. We're waiting for install in the spring. Also for the tennis courts and the park, we're also going to be blacktopping that. So a lot of updates on the parks, so it's looking really nice. And also, we're still working on a roof for the rec center to figure out if we can put an overlay and that the new overlay will hold the snow load. So beside that, that's all I have.
John?
The only thing I'm going to mention is I know we are down some staff in the court clerk's office, and it looks like we are voting on somebody tonight.
Two.
So thank you to Suzanne and for finding some people and pushing these through. So hopefully we'll get them back up to snuff.
Okay, Brian?
We were just at the Town of Fishkill Chambers party across in the rec center. We're very glad that they're participating since they came before the board and utilizing facilities. They have a lot of great things planned for the new year, so if you have a business, please look into joining that. It's a very reasonable cost and it's very neighborhood. They also held a ribbon cutting I went to for Boutique Wines, which is over by Walmart, and I highly suggest it for your Christmas cheer purchases. Maybe that's inappropriate of me to say.
That's fine.
Went to the village last weekend and saw Santa. I mean, come on, you know, if you didn't go, that's just too bad. That was always a warm and fuzzy event. And a couple of things, when I met with Julie Spann at Blodgett Library, she wants to do a number of different presentations, which are very, very important. Functional needs registry, which is, for instance, I talked about this a while ago. Functional needs registry, should we have a storm, for instance, and all power is out, you could be registered on the app, the Dutchess app, and you would be the first to be contacted in case, for instance, you needed oxygen and things like that. So it's a side to that app that's extremely important, and she wants to do a presentation at the rec center about that, but she'll be contacting us. She has a number of other things going on, but January 9th is the National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. She has Adopt a Police Officer program for kids. Kids can come in and register and adopt a police officer, 25 in the town and 25 officers in the village. I don't know that there's that many, but and they receive a certificate and a teddy bear. And it's their way of just showing support for the police force and understanding that the police are there to help and serve them, which I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Last thing, the stand down that we were at, which is really terrific. Virgil Capillari with our Veterans Committee organized that, and it's a Dutchess-wide event that the Dutchess organization of the veterans, Dutchess County veterans held. And it was very important. It's a huge turnout, and a lot of our vets, which was really terrific, from Fishkill showed up. And the last thing, which I mentioned to the supervisor, and I'm going to say tonight, and that is in an email, we have to get Central Hudson back here. We have to have them again because this billing isn't working out, and there are a lot of questions, so we look forward to getting them back and answering some questions at some point in the near future. That's it.
Outstanding. And with the children with the comp stuff, get that to me and Greg so we can do an e-gov and make sure we share it with the community.
Yeah.
Get that out there.
Yeah.
Advertise that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Found my glasses.
Louise?
Thanks. For the rec center, the seniors on December 1st, they went on a sold-out bus trip to the Herndon Playhouse in New Jersey to see a Christmas show and have a luncheon. Thank you to Mary Ann for another great senior trip. On December 6th, the Verplank Garden Club members hosted their annual holiday crafts with the seniors, which was enjoyed by all. Next week, on the 15th, they will have their senior holiday party with holiday music and a luncheon. On the rec side, this Friday night, the 9th, we will have our drive-through Winter Wonderland from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's free, but you must have pre-registered for tickets. It's at the Fishkill Town Hall campus for kids ages 1 to 10, and you basically just drive all around the, around Town Hall, around through the police department, and back to the rec center. And at the end, there's a special appearance from Santa and Mrs. Claus. And I'm sure Jay and Lauren and Mary Ann and the rec staff, thanking them in advance, because I know they'll do a great job like they did last year, as well as the Parks Department. The Village of Fishkill, I attended a meeting this past Monday. Their board accepted their mobile life ambulance contract and discussed a few member changes to their planning board. Thank you to Mayor Kathy Martin and her trustees and clerk for working with me throughout the year to continue to foster a good working relationship between the village and the town. For the planning board, we'll be appointing a new planning board alternate tonight, Kevin O'Connell, who came up and introduced himself. And on Sunday, I attended the yearly Verplank Garden Club Holiday Craft Event in the basement of Town Hall. And as usual, it was a wonderful event, and it was for the kids to make crafts. And thank you to Kathy Gambino and all of the members of the Garden Club for another successful community event.
That's it?
Yep.
Yeah, the garden club event was very nice this year. I had a lot of people show up, and it was actually raining. I stopped by, and there was a lot of new people there. And the staff was asking them where they got this information, how they ended up knowing about this, and a lot of people said they got it from our email newsletters or eGov. So if you guys want to know what's going on in the town of Fishkill, you can watch these meetings, and you'll know a lot more by going to the town website and signing up for our emails. And we have all these events and explain to you how to sign on and go to those events. So they were pleasantly surprised on a rainy day. It was a packed house. So it was a nice event, and they're having a dinner next Tuesday there for their staff. Next up is a presentation. First one will be up Mr. Knapp with the Buildings and Grounds. Time for your yearly presentation.
Good evening. My name is Brandon Knapp, and I'm here tonight to present the department status report for the Buildings and Grounds Department. Thank you for providing me with the opportunity to speak to the board and answer your questions. I'd like to begin by giving you just a brief overview of our department and the responsibilities we have. So, in our parks, they consist of Mauer Gearing Park, which is around 14 acres in size, Doug Phillips Park, which is around 8 acres in size, the Dutchess Park Lake, which covers a little over 11 acres, of which mostly the water itself. Shepherd's Park is around 18 acres in size. Jean Van Pelt, which is just under 2 acres in size, but will expand after the bridge project is completed. Camp Foster is just over 17 acres, but only 9 are developed. Here at the Town Hall, the Police Station and Rec Center are our 3 main buildings which we provide service to. The Town Hall is over 32,000 square feet. The Police Station and Rec Center are both close to 18,000 square feet. In addition to the buildings, we have the town's War Memorial and 9/11 Memorial, as well as maintaining our facility at Doug Phillips Park. All of these buildings are unique in their operation, function, and the manner in which they are maintained. We have not been limited to these properties and have performed numerous tasks within the town that is outside the scope of our normal responsibilities as well in the past. We have made some upgrades to our fire alarm systems. All of our systems were updated to meet the new standards and add the new components for the outgoing dialers. That's in every building. In the town hall, we installed new monitor for the meeting room, which is over there, and that helped improve some visibility and give the capability of dual presentations. We painted 6 rooms and hallways in our downstairs section, and we replaced 2 Belimo valves on the cooling tower and replaced 1 expansion tank on the boiler. In the police station, the vestibule was painted, the main lobby, and the entire detectives wing, which also received some wall repairs and ceiling repairs at the same time. The garage doors received new springs and chains on all the openers, and we replaced 1 circulating pump and 2 heating elements in the water heater. At the rec center, we completed the painting of the floors and walls in the mezzanine section of the gym. We replaced the circulating motor and heating elements in the water heater there. Placed a compressor and recharged an HVAC unit for the gym. We built the shed for summer camp and delivered it to school before camp. We replaced the fencing at the dog park and regraded the back corner of the park itself, and the gate closer was replaced and a new water valve was installed. New outfield fence and a backstop was put up on the backfield of Doug Phillips Park. The water tower was fenced in for safety reasons. All new fencing will be installed around the playground and tennis court areas, which Councilman Estevan alluded to, which, just an update, it was started today. And a path was installed for residents to use as a launch for small boats and kayaks in the creek. Now they can back down to the water safely and launch their watercraft from there. In concluding this evening, a number of our capital projects are planned for the upcoming year, and I just want to say thank you for the town board support in these projects and the equipment and manpower to complete these projects. I'd also like to say thank you for letting me go before Joel. It's age before beauty.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Brandon?
What are the initial thoughts for expansion at Jean Van Pelt? Just curious.
Well, it's really not going to be a major expansion. I think we're going to gain about 50 feet, and that's kind of a tough embankment. It depends on how the bridge is going to pan out.
Okay.
So it's hard to say for sure until they complete their project.
Gotcha.
You're looking maybe more like a couple extra parking spaces and maybe a better berth for the canoes to go into the water,
Okay.
right?
Right,
About
that's
that.
correct, yeah.
While we're at parks, we just knocked down that water tower on 9D. We're thinking about, that's about an acre of land overlooking the Hudson River with beautiful views. We're thinking about making that a town park. Do you have any opinion on that?
No, it's hard to kind of picture it. It's difficult to see right now, but we did go over there and clear out a spot so they could get in there and take a look at the building itself. It was pretty overgrown, but I'm not sure the view without the tank there. I haven't seen it myself.
Okay. Yeah, okay, if you get a chance, go over there and take a look, please.
Okay.
We're thinking about making that a town park. It's got some nice views.
Okay.
John, you have anything?
Yeah, thank you for being here tonight.
No problem.
How many full-time, how many part-time people do you have in your department?
Currently,
Yeah.
we have 4 full-time employees and 1 seasonal employee, 1 per diem employee right now.
Okay.
And we're looking to hire 2, which both were sick this evening, and they did contact Suzanne about not being able to make it.
They can come to the next meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Brendan, can you tell us a little about your 2 new hires so we can know a little bit about them?
Sure, I did send that note today.
Sure.
But
I think just so the people can know.
yeah, no, of course. Certainly, the groundskeeper position that we're trying to fill, he worked as a landscaper for a number of years. He matches the equipment that we use. There's no training there. He matches the trucks and trailers over the road, that kind of thing. He's done a bunch of installs for landscape, all different various projects over his time. He did have some pictures to show, and really there's not much to acclimate him to what we do, So the training wise on our end will be pretty quick, and that's a big convenience for us. The second hire was for a head groundskeeper. He brings a little bit different set of skills and experience, more so on the HVAC side, electrical side, plumbing side. So that's geared more towards the maintenance of this property, and that's where we see him as a much better fit for, staying in this property. We always had one person that always stays here in the town hall, but, they work in the 3 buildings and take care of, the day-to-day operations, the monthly maintenance, the weekly maintenance, and the biannual maintenance.
Do you think like some of those positions, for example, the head's grounds, should we define that position as maybe a janitorial or maybe a maintenance mechanic? So we could define that role instead of head's grounds? Because he's going to be mostly in the buildings, that doesn't really fit his role. What's your thoughts about that?
There's no real perfect assignment to give to somebody. We're basing this off of county titles that they give and title descriptions. So it's kind of complicated. It's not something that we could develop and just say, well, this is his position and this is what we think his title is. We're kind of limited on what we can do and what we can say based on those county appointments and what they already have as classified positions.
Yes.
But I do agree with you, yes.
Yeah, I looked at all the non-competitive titles, and I think that we can probably define some of the roles a little bit better to match what they actually do. So something maybe you and I can work on a little bit over the
Okay.
winter,
And if you saw them, you see they're still kind of outdated.
very much so.
They talk a lot about, steam boilers, and,
Yeah.
nobody's really using those things anymore, so.
What's your thoughts, one last thing, I know you, Chief Needham, you're maintaining, the highway's actually maintaining that.
Cutting the grass.
Cutting the grass, right, so you guys are not doing that no more.
At which location?
Chief Needham?
The statue.
The statue?
Oh, yes,
So
yes,
you're
the
not-
highway is
That's a good
maintaining that
mulch.
for now. We only delivered some mulch, and
Yeah.
we added the outlet in. That was it.
There is, we have a maintenance, maybe something we could talk about later, of maintaining the statue. So maybe something we can look at, if we could do it in-house, or we have to sub it out, because the statue needs to be maintained by once a year polishing, so it doesn't tarnish.
Okay.
So maybe something we could talk about.
Yeah, that was a recommendation actually from the sculptor who I was talking to about potentially another project, and he was saying, oh, by the way, I said, yes, well, it should be waxed. You need to wax your statue. And I was like, oh, why is that? Because it'll just, it'll tarnish, it'll change colors, it just starts to deteriorate, and it's a once-a-year type of thing. So it can be contracted out, but it just seems like maybe we could work that into our capabilities, I would think.
Hey,
Yeah,
Brent.
Oh, no, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, you finish, go ahead.
We do something probably similar process to the 9/11 memorial now.
Awesome. One last question. I know you have a bucket lift. How high does that go? 10, 12, 15 feet? The one that you cut the trees with sometimes, that, on the tractor?
It's based on the backhoe's lift capacity.
Okay.
So I want to say it's 14 and a half feet. That's a good.
Yeah, so, because we have to put up the Hometown Heroes banners, and we're going to allot some time to do that, so,
On the telephone poles?
Yes.
Okay.
So, we might have to rent a piece of equipment, but not sure if highway, grounds are going to do that, so something we'll discuss too.
Well, you saw it for yourself. You saw the limitations, and it's pretty high. But, that's to the floor, and, the reach is still another 6 feet or so. So we can.
And you reach pretty high, but I know for
Yeah.
safety reasons and being on the road is a whole different story.
Please.
No, so now you have 6 full-time employees and 1 seasonal, right?
With all hope.
With the 2
after
that we're
this
going to hire
evening, yes.
tonight, yeah.
Yes, that would be
Okay.
correct, yes.
Yeah, sounds good. No, I'm good, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon.
Mr. Petrus, our building inspector, will be giving his yearly presentation.
Joel, you have 90 minutes.
90 minutes?
Wow. Seconds.
Seconds. I couldn't cover that for nothing. So,
I may go out.
it's real easy to go behind Brandon, pardon me, because he breaks down the buildings and the grounds and the areas and the acreage and everything. The whole town is my department, so it's real easy. So we start off there. This is building, fire, planning, and zoning, okay? In the past year, we've got 25 applications and approvals in planning at the current point in time, and there are also 10 carried over from last year, so they're still going, and 0 denials in planning. In the Zoning Board of Appeals, there were 4 new applications, there was 1 new application approved, and no carryovers from last year, and 1 denial. That ends those 2 departments. Okay, now I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the building, the fire, and the zoning stuff, and the rest of it. So, I'm going to give you 2020, 2021, and up-to-date 2022. Okay? For complaints in 2020, we had 56 for the year. In 21, we had 82 for the year. In 22, up to this point, there's 50. File searches, which are based on all the houses that everybody buys, that's what file search is about. In 2020, remember, 2020 was the COVID year, okay? 2020 was 406, 2021 was 398, and up to date for this year is 324. Obviously, the progression has gone down in the house sales because of the interest rates that everybody knows are going through the roof. And fire inspections. In 2020, there were 217. In 2021, there were 225. And current to date in 2022 are 229. Like I said, everything based on 2020 coming forward from all the COVID things just goes to show that even though COVID was going on, we were still doing all kinds of work.
Now, Mr. Petrus, we stayed open, correct?
Yes, we did.
What was the impact of staying open?
Impact of staying open was 56 complaints, 406 permits, 406 fire searches, 217 fire inspections, and 663 permits.
That's good work.
Okay. For permits for this year, for permits in 2020, there were 663. 2021, there were 721, and up to today, there are 738. Total inspections just for this year, up to today. I didn't go back and do inspections for the last 2 years. Myself, the deputy building inspector, and the fire inspector combined, 2,386 inspections have been made in the town. As you are well aware of, we enacted 5025, the unsafe building section, and we demolished 8 Stratus Lane, which was a falling down house, and we demolished 448, 450 Van Wyck Lake, which was the fire that burned the house, and the insurance company didn't want to take it down, so we did it because it was very unsafe. Currently, we have 15 ongoing cases in court. The infamous CubeSmart, it's in the hands of the bank. The bank, what cleanup you see out there was done by the bank that obviously is foreclosing on it. As far as that, that's all I know. And during this year, from June to October 18th, my department covered the village also because they were without a building inspector, fire inspector. And for the village, we did 28 permits. I have no idea how many COs we did because it's a different program, so I can't figure that part out. And we did a combined amount of 86 inspections. And that's all the information you need from me.
Any questions, board members?
Questions?
I have one.
Comments?
I have one. I can have 10 if you'd like.
I know you could.
For the Van Wyck Lake house that was knocked down, give us an update on the vehicles, especially the RV. So the
Those
board knows.
violations were sent out, as always. We haven't gotten any responses back yet on the violations that were sent out, so the next step is to send out appearance tickets for him to go to court.
I thought they were going to court.
Not
Didn't you
yet.
say that they had appearance tickets to go to court?
No, not yet.
I thought you said they were going in January.
No.
It's not coming back to you?
No.
Yeah, you told me that.
Okay.
Okay. Can we see if we can
Yeah,
step
look,
up that process
what'll
there?
happen is
Because,
Rich
yeah.
can set them for January.
He set what for
He
January?
can set up the court dates for January so that we can send him with the appearance ticket in January. That's where we're going,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
He hasn't contacted us yet on the step number 1 like he's supposed to.
Isn't there a certain date that he has to contact you by, or it's delinquent
Right.
or something?
We have to give him 30 days to contact us.
So it's probably
In the
like
first 30 days, he didn't
60.
contact
Right.
us. Okay, so now it goes into the next step,
Okay.
okay? That's where we are with that one.
All right, so then when it goes to court, what will happen then? So is the court going
It's all
to,
on the judge.
and the judge can have him remove the RV and all the rest of the vehicles that are there
Judge
that
can
are
do that if
also
he wants.
unsafe?
It's up to him. He
Okay.
can do whatever he wants.
We'll have to see when the judge returns actually to court, so.
Right, so. It's not the first time that same lot has had problems with cars.
Right.
The last time we went through this 6 or 7 years ago, he removed like 3/4 of them. And then all of a sudden, they started appearing again. But now, because it's a vacant lot, there's nothing else new there since the fire.
Right, just the RV and the other cars probably leaking things into the ground.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Okay?
Thanks, Joel.
Anybody else?
Might just have a comment, Joel. I just, so everybody understands that each department has a department head and how they operate. I compare our departments to other towns, and I want to learn and educate myself. Our building department, with the few members we have, produce a lot of revenue for the town. I compare it to Wappingers, LaGrange, East Fishkill. East Fishkill's a little bit bigger, but Wappinger and LaGrange being the size, they almost have double the amount of employees doing what we do with half the amount of employees. Joe, you don't need to comment on that. I just want to let everybody know that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
As the liaison to the building department, you and I have sat down several times during the year.
yes, we have.
I want to thank you for your time,
Thank you for your time.
and I think you guys are doing a great job.
Good, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Next up would be a presentation from Mobile Life.
Oh, I think,
What's that? I'm going to do Mobile Life.
oh, okay.
So Mobile Life?
Good evening, everyone. My name is William Jeffries. I'm the Vice President of Mobile Life Support Services. I'm joined tonight by Peter Chanella, who is our Director of Operations for all of our Dutchess County operations. First, let me thank you for the invitation to come in and speak with everyone. As you know, Mobile Life Support has been providing ambulance service and emergency medical services to the Rombout area of Fishkill for over 15 years, and we currently have a renewal of our agreement that's in front of the council this month. There's a few things that I wanted to make clear to the council, just as far as an educational session more than anything else. I've provided you with some information. The emergency medical services in New York State and throughout the country, in fact, is struggling in terms of staffing and reimbursements and funding. In New York State, unlike the fire service and the police service, ambulances are not considered an essential function. Now, during COVID, when everything went really bad, we were temporarily given essential service status, which has since expired, which means that no community is under any obligation to fund their ambulance service, even though most communities can't operate without an ambulance service. One of the other things that I'd like to bring to everyone's attention is the extreme staffing shortage for emergency service workers throughout the state. Over 15% of the people who are certified to provide emergency medical services in New York State failed to renew their certifications in the past 2 years. Now, all of that has happened, and we have still maintained a solid quality service organization for the community of Rombout. And one of the things I'd also like to highlight is our current agreement with Rombout provides one 24-hour ambulance that you in fact share with the village of Fishkill. And despite that very limited agreement, there are often second, third, and even fourth calls that occur simultaneously within Rombout that we cover with additional resources that we essentially lend to this community. And we wanted to make sure that that was clear to everyone as we move forward, because as this situation continues to unfold, the staffing shortages are going to continue. Fuel prices are continuing to rise. And the ambulance industry, in fact, is continued to be underfunded. For instance, it doesn't matter how many ambulance responses we do, most insurance companies, including Medicare and Medicaid, refuse to pay for the ambulance at all if the patient isn't transported. So every time we come to a community member's home in the middle of the night, just to check on them because they weren't feeling well, or they want to know if maybe I have to see my doctor tomorrow, or do I need to go to the ER this evening, we respond to all of those calls. We provide care and evaluation to all those patients, and there's no way for our ambulance service to be paid for it. So there's just a few things that we wanted to make sure that everyone was sort of aware of, because I think a lot of people don't understand how the ambulance industry is structured and how the ambulance industry is funded. So we wanted to be able to point that out to you, because a lot of community members and council members are not fully aware of that, and we wanted to give you the opportunity to ask us a few questions if you had any.
So basically, if somebody calls an ambulance and they don't go to the hospital, you don't get paid?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, we sat and had a very informative meeting with you all, Carmine and I and other members, and it was quite an education. You know, there are a lot of things about, you know, your service and your field and everything that you do is an education. When people are looking at needing an ambulance and it's not getting there, there are a lot of reasons for it. It's not a lax, it's you know, when the call comes through and relaying it, and there's traffic, and there's a volume of calls that day or that moment or whatever, there are all kinds of other things. So it just appeared to me, and of course, everything that we've heard about you is also with the police and the fire and everything else, which is, you know, you can't get the employees and the pay isn't enough, and it's very dangerous at certain times with certain types of patients. So I do commend you for your work. We do appreciate you guys being here and giving this presentation. It just appears that, you know, somehow maybe we need to start looking at, you know, how we can expand service and create greater coverage in the new year. Not opening up that discussion now, just opening up the thought out there.
Understood. There are different service models that we can explore. Mobile Life Support has been providing ambulance services throughout the Hudson Valley for over 40 years. There are different models that work for different communities, and it's simply a matter of using the historical data, the population data, and the census data of the age of your population to figure out what service best suits you, and then designing a system that will serve that purpose, and then, of course, figuring out a way to fund it. The service you have now is economical, and because of the way we provide backup ambulances to your community, it is covering all of your ambulance calls, but it is not going to endure if all the issues we currently have and all the costs we currently have continue to rise. I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that as we're moving forward, so there aren't surprises in a month or two when I'm telling you that.
Elaborate on that. What do you mean? Elaborate.
On which part?
If this continues.
Well, as I said, the area of Rombout has an ambulance service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that they share with the village of Fishkill.
Understood.
So in theory, and this isn't a theory, this actually happens all the time, if there is an ambulance, it's a request for an ambulance call in the village, the ambulance responds to that call. If 10 minutes later, while the first ambulance is still on the call in the village, somewhere in Rombout needs another ambulance, we then have to pull that ambulance from somewhere else in our operation because the ambulance service agreement doesn't cover it, but there's still somebody who needs an ambulance. So,
Understood.
So we basically have to subsidize that system ourselves.
And you're not looking to encroach into any volunteer ambulance corps, are you?
No, of course not. In fact, we work alongside volunteer ambulance services as well as municipal ambulance services, the fire service, and police first response. We actually have a very robust system of operating differently depending on what that community needs. Some communities have fire department first response for certain calls, particularly communities that have a large geographic area where the ambulance service, there's only one ambulance or two ambulances in the district. They can't get 20 miles to the other side of town, so sometimes the fire service will provide first response.
And sometimes they back you up on calls.
Yes, of course. If there's a motor vehicle accident or if lifting assistance is needed, if a patient is unconscious in their home and we need to gain entry, then we need the police or the fire service to assist us with that. So we actually do plenty of calls with your fire districts.
So what is your relationship in the town of Fishkill with the volunteer ambulance corps? How would you rate it?
The volunteer
cooperation with a Beacon volunteer
with
ambulance
Beacon, okay. I apologize. I wasn't certain what you meant by that term. We've worked alongside Beacon for years. We have what's called a mutual aid agreement, which basically means if Beacon runs out of ambulances and we have one to spare, we send one of our ambulances to them. That is a mutual agreement. So in that scenario I gave you where there's multiple ambulances in Fishkill and we need an extra ambulance, Beacon is our neighbor, we call them up. Well, we use county. County calls them up for us and says, can you come in and back up Mobile Life Support?
And that's a good relationship?
I believe it is, yes.
BVAC comes into Rombout from time to time, correct? I mean, they're also supporting.
Correct.
You go to them, but they come to us.
Yes, BVAC is responsible for covering parts of Fishkill for ambulance service. We're responsible for covering Rombout, and as we need help, it's called a mutual aid agreement. We have an agreement that says they'll come help us and we go help them.
Okay.
That's a county-wide system. Every community ambulance service has an agreement with a neighboring ambulance service. I can't think of a town that doesn't have an agreement like that.
Thank you. I know that we had over an hour meeting discussing some of the issues that we have. You answered them all. I want to thank Olympia, you two gentlemen from Mobile Life, our fire, part of our fire protection engine, and also Roundabout for being part of the meeting, and Councilman Rye. We had a real good meeting talking about and discussing the issues, and thank you for adding those couple of things that we had concern to the contract.
Of course, happy to.
Louise, you have any questions?
No, I just want to also say thank you for coming. We appreciate you coming and explaining to everybody. For anybody out there, if you have any issues with the ambulance, if you think they are not coming timely or any concerns or complaints, contact one of us. We'll contact Olympia. Olympia reaches out to them and we solve whatever the issue is, just for people to know in the future.
Councilman Foreman has a question.
So a couple of things. One, thank you for being here tonight. Two, I think the ambulance service in general needs to hire better lobbyists up in Albany.
Absolutely.
And
we are trying, sir.
And three, The feedback I get from Olympia in our controller's office is nothing but positive when dealing with your company.
She is a pleasure to work with.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You good? You guys are good? Okay. All right. Thank you again. Next presentation will be Mr. Tremper from Camo Pollution. Michael?
Becky asked that I be especially descriptive and make this go through every little part of the water and sewer system, so it could take a long time.
Take your time, Mike.
Yeah. And everyone's asked me to be short, so obviously I've got the little thing that I talk a lot, so about water and sewer. So I'll try to be brief. There's always a lot going on with your water and sewer systems. The most important thing for you to remember, with the exception of the Merritt Park system that was built by Toll 20 years ago, most of your infrastructure, sewer and water is 60, 70, even some parts of Glenham is 80 years old. So we're now no longer dealing with the new systems, all right? And just like people, as water pipes get old, sewer pipes get old, equipment gets old, it fails. So there's no immediate emergencies out there, but you should know that your systems are, the infrastructure is getting older. So I'll just try to run through the highlights of each water and sewer district. The Glenham Water District, which buys its water from the village of Fishkill. This year, all the water goes to a booster station located on the firehouse grounds over here, and that station boosts the pressure up for the whole Glenham Water District, and it also goes to Beacon Hills. For years, that booster station never had a generator, so when the power failed, the folks of Glenham would have lower than normal water pressure. The generator is ordered, has been ordered for a long time. The pads are built. It's due in December, and when it comes in, within hours of it coming on the pad, it will be functional. So you'll have a standby generator at that Glenham booster station, which is a very big upgrade. Moving farther down the pipe, you get the Beacon Hills. We don't have to talk about this. You guys know Beacon Hills has all new water mains, with the exception of a few small spots. It's been a wonderful year. We have had haven't had any water main breaks. When I put together the, the O&M budgets for Beacon Hills for the next year, we were able to drop down the costs of repair and maintenance because the new water mains we don't need nearly the amount of water main breaks we had. Additionally, at Beacon Hills, there's 3 separate booster stations down there. Because it's Beacon Hills, there's a lot of high spots that you need to boost the water up. Those booster stations never had standby generators, and due to the amount of trees down there, every time there was a windstorm or a snowstorm, the power goes out, the people on the upper elevations had no water. So again, in the month of December, those generators are scheduled to be installed. The pads are all in, all the transfer switches are in. The generators, due to the supply issues, have been ordered over a year now. So, but I got the delivery notice in December, they're due to come in. So there are 2 new generators going in at Beacon Hills. If you go to the Rombout Water District, we piped in an emergency redundant system so that it's a little, I don't want to drag it out for you, but the whole north side of the Rombout Water District, where Carmine lives up over by Briarwood, down by Riverwalk, is connected through a pipe that runs through a swamp where the fire road is. If that pipe failed, and it has before, the north side of the district was out of water for 12, 15 hours. This redundant system we put in will enable us to put in a couple of temporary pipes and get those people water. So that's been a good step. Hopefully we never use it, but if we have to use it, it was installed and it's in place. The other, in Rombout Water, the tank that Ozzie mentioned before, the old storage tank that was on the nursing home's grounds, has been removed. That was taken offline 5 years ago, 4 years ago, but it was never removed. So it's finally been cut up and taken away. The next water district we have is Brinkerhoff Water District. There, we've done a lot of work. We've installed a new chlorination system, a new flow meter that's paced off the chlorinators, the chemical feed system's all paced off how much water they're using. We replaced much of the piping within the confines of the water plant. We had a couple of outages due to that failure of the system. We have put in new pump controllers that are much more cost-effective to work there. And a big thing is, and it's not done yet, but the new firehouse, the town worked out an arrangement to add a water main from the new firehouse down to where the convenience store is, and that will be a redundant water main that will be very, very useful for the people of Brinkerhoff. Keep in mind, I'm talking about mechanical improvements which ensures continuity of water. When you talk about Brinkerhoff, the water there is high in chlorides a few months of the years, all right? So that's something that we're going to have a hard time getting away from, you know, and the only way you get away from that is controlling the amount of chlorides that you put onto the roads, and not just town roads, but state roads, county roads, and all those things. And that's a big undertaking. That's not something I'll be working on, but I'll help whoever is working on it. Also at Brinkerhoff, we're looking at, and I saw it on your resolutions for tonight, we have violations with the health department for inadequate well supply, even though the people there are very rarely out of water due to not well supplied, but there's no storage there. So one of the ways to resolve that would be to run a line between the Merritt Park water system and the Brinkerhoff water system. And there's been a lot of different ways. We've tried looking at some different ways to get that done, some more economical. They didn't work out, but there is a resolution for you to run a permanent pipe from Merritt, the end of Merritt Boulevard, to the ball field by the convenient mart for Brinkerhoff. And that's something that will be a good thing. For sewer, Roundabout Sewer, you have a sewage treatment plant there that flows, it's designed for 750,000 gallons a day. It flows about 300,000 gallons a day. It meets its state limits, or the permit limits given by the state, continuously. Additionally, at the Roundabout Sewer, we had a catastrophic pipe failure at Ridgecrest in the middle of the summer. You know, and it's one of these things it was an issue where the developer ran a sewer line right next to Carmine saw it, the supervisor saw it. They ran a sewer main right next to the foundations of all the units up there, maybe 8-10 feet off, 23 feet in the ground. So when we dug it up, the pipe was all broken, and it was a big job. It was done, and we didn't have any emergencies, no sewage overflows, but it was a few weeks of hell for the people of Ridgecrest area. Dutchess Park, pump the sewer district, all the sewage is pumped from here. Dutchess Park is all pumped to the city of Beacon. We bought a new spare pump for there this past year, and that was $27,000. So that was a good purchase, so we have a backup pump system. Those are just the highlights of your water and sewer systems. I urge any of you, if you want to come ride around with me and look at them or take a tour, I'm open anytime. It's not a very glamorous thing, but it is. You spend a lot of money on it, and my firm tries to do as good a job with it as we can. So
We're going to be doing that in January.
Okay.
You and I.
Mr. Bryan, do you have any
Make sure
questions?
you have heat in the truck.
Mr. Bryan, you have any questions for Mr. Trump?
Anybody have any questions?
I'm going to have a lot when we ride around.
Okay.
John?
I'll be prepared to answer them.
No questions, but thank you for being here.
Thank you for allowing me to be here.
You know, I have talked to you several times during the year. You always make yourself available.
Yeah.
And you do a lot for this town. I know you get paid for it, but you do a lot for this town.
Yeah, I've been here 45 years, so, wow. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's how long I've been here.
Hey, Mike, it's a good thing. I just want to, just to educate all the homeowners that are watching tonight, not only that the chlorides, which is, it's salts, calcium, that pollutes the waters, it's also not just the highway, state, county, or the town, it's also the homeowners, you as homeowners. When you're using materials on your walkways, use some different products, and if you want to be educated, hey, call me and I'll tell you what are some better products. But also the HOAs, homeowner associations. They have their contractors who take care of their snow removal. They're using materials that are also going into our drains. So everybody takes a responsible role of reducing the sodium and the chlorides in the waters. It's very big and something I would like to work on in the future to help reduce it, and also get our town in a better place. And a little education goes a long ways.
I think it's a wonderful endeavor because I get involved with the municipal systems. There's a lot of people in the town of Fishkill that have private wells that have the same problems with chlorides and don't have, they're not in a pool of people that can all chip in. They have to deal with it themselves. And it can be a difficult situation for them.
Just like all the driveways. All the driveways, every homeowner has a driveway. Everybody's putting down some type of ice melting material. Just be mindful of what you're putting down. It starts with you.
That's exactly right.
Yes, and the next meeting, we're going to be voting for the DWSP2 program that I've been working with the state for the last 18 months, and we're going to have to incorporate a plan to reduce those chlorides by Brickroff Water District. So we will be moving forward on that. Councilwoman Daniele, do you have any questions for Mr. Tremper?
I do.
Go on.
Hi, Mike. Before I ask you the questions, I just wanted to say something to you. I'd personally like to thank Mike for teaching me all about water and sewer systems within the past 3 years that I've been on the board. For those of you that don't know, I got into politics because of water issues and Bob Lacola. I appreciate the opportunity to be the water liaison and learn from Mike as he has shown me around our town and all of the different districts, wells, chlorinators, generators, and sewer station. Water is a precious resource that each of us has, and we are lucky to have Mike and his company's knowledge and workers throughout the years to help us continue to monitor and protect our resources. And I've driven around with him a few times, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll do another one in the future. But before you leave tonight, I have a couple of questions. We have resolutions later on the agenda, but I'd like to get your input on them now because I know you won't be here later. So CPL Engineering to perform a design for Brinkerhoff Merit Connections. As we get further into it, maybe you can explain if it will be used only as needed, or as we originally thought it was just going to be needed for backup storage, or has that changed, and how would it actually work? Is there a valve, or what would be involved?
So I haven't talked to CPL about the specifics of this pipe, but as we are right today with the Merritt Park system, or Snook Road system, and the Brinkerhoff system, the pipe could not be left open all the time, because, first of all, if the wells are not necessarily sized at Snook to supply the water for Brinkerhoff, and there may be some pressure differentials. What you would have is, your violations with the health department are lack of storage and lack of well supply. The pipe in place would be set up, they do make automatic valves, which are not at all complicated or very expensive, so that if you had a fire or a water main break in the Brinkerhoff supply, the valve would come open and the people of the Brinkerhoff district would not even realize that there was a problem. They might have a little lower pressure than normal, but everybody would have adequate water until the water main break or the fire or the pump failure was over. What you have at Brinkerhoff has just a typical hydrodynamic system. Just like if you have a well in your house, it's the same thing. If for some reason a generator doesn't come on or the pumps don't come on, the whole system goes out of water within a half an hour. The storage system would allow you, there's 1 million gallons of water on a tank, up on the tank. You use about 300,000 gallons a day, so you theoretically would have enough water on the hill for a few days. So the pipe would be, in my mind, just talking here, and I haven't spoke to the designers of it, would be left so with either an automatic valve or a manual valve. It is 2022 going on 2023. You may look to have an automatic valve with some alarms and things, so it opened up, you called. It's not crazy expensive or out of the norms.
Okay. Let's see, the second one. There's also a resolution to accept an agreement to resolve outstanding money claims in regard to accepting offers of dedication for water and sewer for Fishkill Woods and Van Wyck subdivisions. There is a list of items that that needs to be done to receive payment before it's agreed to. I just wanted to make sure that you feel confident that if we accept the Van Wyck water and sewer agreement, that it's, is the Van Wyck water and sewer up to par if we accept that agreement?
I haven't read the whole agreement per se. My understanding is, you know, we've been going through this takeover, dedication, whatever you want. I mean, a long time. And there was some work we outlined, not only, I don't want to confuse apples and oranges, there's some work at the Van Wyck pump station, which is separate from the other work. I had recommended we do a follow-up cleaning and TVing of the sewer lines and flushing of the fire hydrants and those things. My understanding is there's money in the agreement, so once it's done, the town can then go ahead and implement that activity.
Okay, I wasn't sure, I'll check with the board later if that money is to be used for that or if it was not, but I know that's not your thing. But, so you're just saying it would be helpful to put a TV,
Well, I mean, we had a lot of,
check it, yeah.
we had a lot of problems there when we TV'd initially, and we TV'd it initially, it was a good 7, 8 years ago, and they found some serious problems, and the repairs that were made were 27 feet in the ground, 25 feet in the ground, and, you know, that's a deep cut, and my thoughts were, when they were all done making all these things, we should look at them again and make sure that, you know, those are good and other spots are good. And I think when I made that comment a few years ago, I think they said, yeah, we'll do that, but that's what we'll do after the town takes it over. There'll be money aside and then the town would do it, so.
Okay, yeah, I'll check with them on the money thing, but so we need to look at it. So as of today, you can't say for sure that it's,
No.
you'd be walking into something
No.
that wouldn't have to be fixed,
Right.
possibly majorly. Also, for Fishkill Woods dedication of water and sewer, I was just wondering your thoughts on that. There's a concern about taking over the sewer, or if it's just the rear portion near BGB that we should take over, if you can explain.
Yeah, my understanding is when the sewer lines were put in for Fishkill Woods, it was never intent of the developer for the town to accept the dedication of all the sewer lines within there. They were put in on a difficult terrain, difficult to maintain, and when the town said, geez, we're not happy with that, Toll's reaction was that they would put them in and then it would maintain the responsibility of servicing those mains themselves. There is a small portion of sewer main that comes off the development that ties into where the BGB accepts that the town would accept. And we have looked at all the water mains, curb valves, up at Fishkill Woods, they're all where they're supposed to be, and the sewer line was maintained. The section the town was gonna take was maintained properly.
Okay, so the water looks good and the part of the sewer that
Absolutely.
but the rest of it is not something we would accept?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to thank you again. I mean, really, without your company, I don't know where our town would be with the water.
No doubt about
So,
that.
we appreciate everything.
That's very nice of you, Sam. And I wish you all happy holidays, and I wish you all, I want to thank every one of you for giving me the opportunity to do my thing here. 'Cause
Well, you stay right there, Mr. Tremper. The town does appreciate all your hard work, and the residents of Fishkill, the biggest headache I have and keeps me up at night is water and sewer issues. All this other stuff that you see on the side, it really doesn't bother me. But what do we have, like 16 water main breaks in Beacon Hills in 1 year?
Right.
It's our infrastructure is aging. It's good to know that we're adding these generators to make sure people don't lose water. And the people that don't have municipal water and sewer got to understand is when we make sure the water lines are not dripping water, it saves those wells from going dry when you have a private well. So it's all interconnected. And for your service to the town of Fishkill for all these years, I'd like to read this proclamation to you and benefit of the town board. So just stay right there while I read this to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. It's a proclamation recognizing the service of Michael Tremper, Camo Pollution Control, Inc. Whereas Michael Tremper is the Chief Executive Officer of Camo Pollution Control, Inc., where Michael offers his services and protection to the residents of the town of Fishkill, and whereas a clean and safe environment is a pivotal concern with Michael, making him instrumental in health and well-being of the residents of the town of Fishkill, And whereas Michael Trumper is instrumental to the health and well-being of the residents of Fishkill by providing clean water and sewer systems, and whereas as an engineer, Michael Trumper always performed with flair and complexity, ensuring the duties were always met with high standard of excellence, and whereas Michael Trumper's service to the town of Fishkill has a profound and lasting impact on the lives of countless residents who've had the privilege to cross Michael's path, and whereas the town board is grateful to Michael Trumper for his service to the town of Fishkill and wishes to recognize his hard work, dedication, and many qualities, and whereas the town board wishes to extend its deepest gratitude to Michael Trumper and extend its best wishes for his greatest success in all future endeavors, now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill does hereby recognize the services and dedication of Camo Pollution Control Inc.'s Michael Trumper, and be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill shall present this proclamation to the Chief Executive Officer of Camo Pollution Control Inc. on the 7th day of December in the year 2022, or soon after, public, in the spirit of thanks and best wishes by order of the town board of the town of Fishkill on the 7th day of December 2022.
Thank you very much. That's
You're
very
welcome.
nice. Very nice.
Do an outstanding job.
That's very nice.
We'd like to get a picture with you and share with the residents.
Oh, boy, you want a picture now?
Yes. Over here in front of the seal.
You should have known you had to wear a tux tonight. Usually the family makes me sit and stand in the back for pictures.
It's the flare.
Today.
It's the flare.
That's you, buddy.
All right.
See it. Everybody in here? Right.
I went in that.
Good.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That's very nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Nice.
Download all that information here.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate that. That's very nice.
Joel wants to know where his proclamation is.
What's that?
Joel wants to know where his proclamation is.
There were like 50 people coming that day. Oh.
Do we have, I don't think we do, just a map that outlines all the water and sewer districts and the interconnectivity?
We kind of do.
We need to have that.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. What's that?
It is Sharon.
Okay. All right, next up will be discussions. The first up is discussion of using the rec center sign for fire department volunteer recruitment. Mr. Galba, can you give us, you have sent us an email, can you give us a little update of what we can do?
Well, there was a proposal to use the rec center sign for advertising, I believe it was recruitment drives for local fire companies. I was under the impression that the board was going to basically rent the sign out to fire companies, and I said you can do that if you wish to do that, but you would need an intermunicipal agreement, and it would have to be with a fire district or a company that's served through a fire district. The board has, as was pointed out at the last meeting, thank you, Louise, a set of regulations regarding use of the sign, and they do not allow for such use. So if the board wished to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the district to allow it to make use of the sign, you would have to amend that policy, which can be done by resolution. I thought about it some more, though, and it seems to me that if the board wishes to, either upon notice or just fortuitously finding out about recruitment drives, put up on that sign notice itself, then it doesn't need an intermunicipal agreement with the fire district or anyone else, because it would be just putting up the notice of its own volition. So that's basically procedurally where you're at. If you're interested in going forward with this, you would need to adopt a resolution amending the policy that the board has. You need a resolution, for the next meeting, I would suppose. But what you're here tonight to do is discuss whether it's wise to do that and whether you wish to do it or not. So, I mean, that's what the discussion is about at this point, not procedurally how to do it.
I remember when we first started talking about this, and you were indicating that potentially, because it's intermunicipal, that we would have to do rent to them in order for them to use the sign. For background, everybody, we reached out to the, as the EMTs pointed out, there's a lack of staffing. There's a lack of volunteerism, and just as the EMTs have that struggle, our police force has that struggle. Certainly, our volunteer fire districts are having that struggle in huge proportions. And I said to John, why don't we just see what we can do to see if there could be a possibility for the town to just be a partner in helping put the word out there that, hey, consider volunteering. You younger men and women out there, get involved. There are a lot of things that we need in that capacity. So one of the things, as we've met with all the fire districts, they've said is they'd like to use the sign to announce that they are having, volunteer drive, et cetera, and they were rebuffed when they asked for it in the past, and lo and behold, we've come across this 2015 electronic sign usage policy, which was understandable that it had to be put in place because everybody was asking the town to use it, announcing so-and-so's birthday, announcing this anniversary. I mean, it got out of control, so they needed to bring it in control, and that's totally respectable because we certainly don't want the rec center staff to hire a person to just manage putting input on the sign. We want to limit this. But if we can do something, and this is what I would like for us to do, is we control it, we control the timing, we control the number of times, but we certainly can help our fire districts with an announcement, a simple announcement on that sign, maybe once, maybe twice a year, and certainly working with the rec center on that whole procedure. I would like to have us just move forward on that, just to help out the fire districts.
I support twice a year advertising on it for the fire departments for recruitment. You'll have my support if you want to go that direction.
Yeah. I think if there's no objection, then maybe we can work on some language for the next meeting.
Yeah, I haven't.
Well, you want to
I
have a straw
objection.
vote on your proposal twice a year? We can do a straw vote?
Yeah, I object to it. Can I just speak my piece before you
Of course.
make the policy? Brian, what would it exactly say? Do you know?
Well, I mean, that's what we have to discuss. That everything is up for discussion. For instance, if, Chelsea is having, it's the recruitment period. We could simply just say Chelsea Fire District, is, seeks volunteers. Please contact Chelsea Fire. Something simple, twice a year during their period to help them. And the issue is, this is the reason why they want to use it, is because the volume of traffic going by there. And we know the volume of traffic going by that sign isn't just people strictly from the Rombat Fire District. It's everybody from everywhere driving, and so it's just a good partnership, I think, to help. Something simple.
For myself, I drove by there just to see how long it would take me to read it. If I drove by, I think it was like 2 seconds. So I'm back to what I originally said the first time. There was a policy created because people wanted to use it for other purposes than it was intended. It's the rec center sign, and in the policy it says it should not be used for nonprofits use. And I don't think we should single out just one nonprofit that can use it or not. And like you already said, you could have a phone number on there that people could be calling the rec center instead of where they're supposed to be calling, like has happened in the past, which is why they created the policy to begin with. And I don't see, I'm a policy person. If we have a policy, why do we have a policy if anybody wants to do anything, we're just going to change the policy? I think there's other methods for recruitment. I've seen other fire departments in other towns with really large signs in front of their fire departments itself, saying, we need you, call, whatever, join the fire department, call this number, come here on a certain night. I don't see it being a benefit, and I just think that the rec center sign should be used for rec center purposes. We don't ask the Rombat Fire Department to use their sign to say that the Tots have a program at 9 o'clock on Friday. So I think it should be used for the specific purpose that it was intended for.
I see both sides to this. thank you for sharing your thoughts, and Brian, thank you for sharing your thoughts. I think we should do something, maybe a hybrid. Policies are meant to be amended to a certain extent. I look at, recruiting is a quality of life issue. We need to have certain people for ambulance, for fire, so I understand the constraint with that. But most important, maybe we pick a month within a calendar year and we do a recruitment drive for the firehouse as part of our eGov, and take it a step further, because we have people watching tonight and also that sign up for our eGov. Maybe we can identify specifically which firehouse 1 month at a time where we're doing a recruitment drive, and then we can quantify, see how effective it is. I see your point. By driving by, you're right, you don't get to see and read that full message. So if there's a message, which I'll support, something on that board, but it has to be short and sweet. So I think we need to think outside the box beside just that bulletin board.
Just so you know, Carmen, I think that Greg has already done that. He's had it on an eGov previously, so,
Okay.
yeah.
We've done it on eGovs.
Yeah.
So just before I get to you, John, I'd like to add BVAC, Beacon Volunteer Animal Corps, to this list. Can we add that?
Sure, I mean, yeah.
That would be the only addition I'd like to add. John?
Yeah, I don't disagree with what Louise has to say, but we have to use every tool that we can to help support driving up our volunteer firefighters. And, this is just a very small way to help them. They don't ask for much from this town board, but they do a lot for this entire town.
Make sure.
So I say we try it, and we can make changes as we need to.
If I may, April, and some of the firemen, April is Recruit New York Month for volunteer firefighters. So maybe we can actually do something to help promote that.
How about we just keep it generic, Brian? We'll do a resolution and ask the fire departments. Some of them might be that month, some might do other things. So allow them twice a year to get on the board at their request.
I think so. I mean, that's.
Could that work, Mr. Gallo?
It could. What I'd suggest we do is, what I suggest the board have me do is prepare a draft policy. You could put it on for discussion. I have a resolution for you as well, but you may wind up just discussing it, and then if you want changes, putting the resolution off until January.
So basically, the fire departments, they have that volunteer ambulance corps 2 times a year. That would be the limit to it, and then we'll take it from there.
Well, if you want to make the policy that specific, you can. What I suggested in my email was that you just leave it up to the discretion of the board, and you approve it by resolution on an ad hoc basis. If you want to do it more than twice a year, that way you can. If you want to do it just once a year, so forth. But I mean, if you want to have it laid out that this is what,
Leave it when we decide to put it on the thing?
Yeah.
So we have to do a resolution each time to get it on the billboard?
I'm afraid so, the way that it's drafted.
You rather do it that way?
I beg your pardon?
It's better to do it that way?
Well, it's not better, it's just different. I mean, if you do it that way, yeah, you got to adopt a resolution every time, but everyone will know what the sign is being used for, and you could be very specific about everything right down to the language. If you leave it open, then...
Oh, I think so. We got to...
Let's just start.
Let's just start. Let's just get this going. I mean, we've been talking with these guys for the longest time.
Okay. All right, so let's prepare a resolution to that effect for the next meeting. We'll table that to the next meeting for discussion, and a mock resolution, whether we do it or not.
Right. During Fire Prevention Week also is a good way to promote it.
Yeah.
There you go.
We could do it on our own, right?
yeah, if you don't have to limit it to Fire Prevention Week, if you leave it just to the board's discretion by resolution, when Fire Prevention week time comes up, you can adopt your resolution then, or not. That's
Got it.
up to the board.
Even better. I can live with that.
Good.
All right. Thank you. Next, we're going to table that for discussion for the next meeting and a possible resolution, but there's not one yet. Next up, number 2, any problem with the additional planning board alternate?
No, we're good, I think.
Any question on the adoption of the multi-capital plan?
Good. Wait, Becky's.
So that discussion is going to go to planning board alternate is the consent?
Yes.
Number 3 is also consent?
So move to resolution.
Consent, yep.
Consent. Got it.
Okay, next up, number 4, the Mobile Life Support, Inc., to consent. What do we got that one under? That's a resolution, consent?
As amended.
As amended, yes.
Yeah.
And then number 5, to reappoint Mr. Davis as zoning board chair. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, next one up is to appoint Mr. Douglas Delapoli as zoning board member of appeals. Any questions?
Nope, good.
Next up is discussion of contract for the cleaning services. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Thank you, Carmine. I think Carmine got the
Carmen
price
says
down a
what,
little
about
bit.
10 grand?
Yeah,
I'm going to give Olympia credit on that,
Yeah.
too, so.
Credit, Olympia? All right, Olympia.
yeah, I forgot Olympia.
She
yeah.
saves us money.
Yep.
All right, so that'll be also in consent?
If I may, the only thing on the janitorial service contract is you should just reach out to them, have them submit a certificate of compliance with the town's sexual harassment prevention policy.
You got that, Mr. Natrella?
Olympia-
It's done? It's done. Disregard. Michael, disregard. Disregard, Michael.
Olympia's good.
Disregard. Thank you, Olympia.
That's good.
All right. Next up is just a discussion for streetlights on Booth Boulevard. I had a resident call me up complaining about no lighting. I finally got some activity from Central Hudson that we can do it. Before we go any further, I want to know if there's at least 3 board members that want to do this.
I mean, the residents there want it? Well, I mean,
And their lighting district's going to pay for it, right?
Yeah, but there is a process to create a lighting district, right? So I just want to know before we have
Is
Mr.
there a
Gavin-
lighting district for that area?
No.
So we'd have to create a lighting
We have,
district
yeah, we haven't
for it.
done this. We haven't done one of these, Louise.
So I'm just wondering, when did they ask for this request? Was it just recently, or?
This took a while, so this, I would say last year it came to me, and finally the Central Hudson got back to me, what, about a week ago, with the particulars?
Well, I'm just wondering, where are we getting the money for it? Because I think the budget already was
Well,
created for...
it would be, they would have to wait the year after, I guess.
All right.
so it's
What is the process of are you guys interested in doing this?
Well, I mean, how many residents, how many homes are going to be in the lighting district? What kind of revenue is it, I mean,
Probably about 40, 50 homes in there?
Oh, that was less than that.
Creation of a lighting district, creation of a special district, just like sewer or water or anything else. You create the district with a map plan and report. You would have to propose in the report how it is you're going to fund the lighting district, whether it's borrowing money or, you know, if you're otherwise getting funds from the state or whatever it may be that you're getting them from. And you'd have to figure out how much the special benefit assessments for the lighting district would be, at least on the average, going forward. So you'd be like, all right, we're borrowing $1 million, there's 41 homes, over 30 years we're going to pay this off, and we're going to have, I don't know, whatever it comes out to, you know, $30 a year, $300 a year, whatever it may be.
1,600.
And you're going to have to figure out your...
$1,600 a year for the total thing, right?
I think it's what it was, right?
Yeah.
Your O&M, operation and maintenance costs as well. Those will go into when you calculate your benefit assessments for the year. But you hold a public hearing on it, and you adopt resolution, well, an order forming the district, just like you did for Blodgett District Extension recently. You file it, and hey presto, you got a lighting district. Then, of course, there's the matter of actually raising the money. You might have to, you know...
So Central Hudson
bond or whatever.
doesn't, Central Hudson just doesn't do it off the poles?
Do you have existing poles?
Yes.
They're going to charge you for the streetlight heads, but that aside, I would think they would just do it off the existing poles. That depends on what goes into the lighting district.
Yeah, I'm not anticipating, I don't want to borrow. No. I don't want to get into that point. I just want to have Central Hudson put them up and charge them for it. That's
Well,
where
I
wanna
can
go.
tell you how to form the lighting district. I can't tell you what's going to go into this lighting district. I haven't looked into your plans.
I mean, they gave a price per year, and I don't know how they came up with that price, or is that maybe a follow-up with them? Like,
That's
do
gonna
you
be-
charge them directly?
That's going to be the, Michael?
You know?
Make that a follow-up, contract Central Hudson, ask them what the cost is to do this, and we'll move this to the...
And who do they bill?
Yeah, who pays for the infrastructure and those type of details?
And Mr. Gaba, did you say then you need some kind of engineering to go along with that? And
It's a map, plan, and report. In this
Yeah.
case, you'd have your engineer work with Central Hudson to say, either we're going to put the poles up here, we need 16, we need 9, whatever it may
Well,
be.
poles are there, they just need the streetlights.
I understand that, but I'm just answering a question about how you would figure it out. In this instance, I guess you're going to be figuring out purchase of heads and the types of heads that you're going to buy and so forth. But Central Hudson's going to charge you for all that.
Of
You're going
course.
to have to pay for it, so.
That's what I want to know.
then we have to, and who's going to pay for the engineering as well?
Or, in flip side, is like, Central Hudson's done this before.
Yes.
Maybe they could just map out guidance for us on how they have handled such districts in the past, you know?
What?
So, when I spoke to Central Hudson, they said that starting off, if we go to do this, it'll be about $1,600 a year, and they'll put a light on every other pole, and it could be increased after for more lighting, and that's the response that we got from our representative. It would.
Let's just follow up with them. Is there any other costs associated with this?
Okay.
Okay.
And who do they bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, very importantly.
I will verify that tomorrow.
I think we're going to have to create a tax line on our tax bill. That's what will happen. It'll be like $20 a year or something like that.
They'll either bill the town directly if it's a town-wide service, or they'll bill your district if you're doing it on a district basis.
Correct, yeah.
Supervisor, if I take a step back.
Sure.
Is this one person asking for this, or is this?
I got about 2 people that asked me for it.
2 people, so what I'm saying is that maybe those 40 residents don't want this, an added tax or an added cost.
Okay.
And just as a thought, because like up at Mauerbrook, it was proposed to do the same thing, but Mauerbrook residents said, we don't want the lighting district. We don't like all the lights. So I think we need to find out if these residents really want to do this lighting district.
So you guys want me to, how about I write a letter to all those neighbors, to them, that we're going to propose this and come to the next board meeting to speak for or against it?
Can we find out the cost first and everything else?
They want it first.
Because that's what they're going to ask. Let's find out, and then, but Carmine, you got a good point. I'm assuming that a lot of people want lighting,
It's not like Marlborough, you've got some moonlight, you can see in Marlborough. This area, you can't see. So it's a different dynamic. But no, I got no problem with that. So how about I find out the costs, I do a mailing to those 50 or so homes, and I'll set up like a presentation type of thing for one of the, probably January or February. You guys okay with me just freelancing on that?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, okay. So just table that to first meeting of February. All right, next up is discussion of appointing the part-time Affordable Housing Director. I have our assessor here, who used to have that task. It's not part of his job description. And why don't you come up and speak and give us a rundown on what's going on with this?
Okay, so in 2006, I believe, before I got here, the real estate market had obviously shot up massively. In the early 2000s, housing was becoming unaffordable. 2 administrations ago, they decided to do something about it, so they wanted to create an affordable housing program. It's mixed between rentals and ownership program. So they would have developers come to the town, and they would give them a density bonus if they put in affordable housing units, that for every 2 affordable housing units they built, they would get 1 market rate unit on top of their maximum density that they could have.
That was Joan Pagonis who created this and got, I got you.
So, in hindsight, I'm not sure the program was ever as popular or worked as well as everyone thought it would at the time. When you have an ownership of these units, it's very difficult to change the ownership, because it has to be purchased through lawyers and deeds. We had 20 rental units at Rivercrest. Rivercrest came to the town, they bought back 10 of them, which is the developer's choice. They left 10 units. They ended up selling that to Jehovah's Witnesses. And now those 10 units, we don't have any affordable housing people in those 10 units. I have talked to Jehovah's Witnesses about it, and they say that the people they're putting in there would qualify for the program, and they feel they're kind of exempt from the regulations based on their religious status. So, but we have no rentals at this point in time. We do have an ownership program in the Regency, one in the Woods, and in Avionis. So, but basically, years ago, Paul Gronkowski was the director of it. He came to a town board meeting where they terminated him, and then I had a meeting with Bob Acola where he told me I'm now the director of affordable housing, and I'm not sure he ever passed any resolutions or anything to that effect. He just called me one day and said, this is your job now, take it. So, being the good soldier, I took it, although they did give me John Darcy. I don't know if anybody knew who John Darcy was, but John was the assistant to Paul Gronkowski. He came and started working in my office, doing affordable housing, and he did a lot of other stuff with communications and press releases, but he was pretty much doing most of the affordable housing work. Then John retired, and I got Pam in my office for a while, and she helped a little bit, but then she retired, and now I'm left with nobody except myself. So, and really, reading the law, the town's supposed to appoint someone to be the director of affordable housing. That was never really done. So,
Can I ask a couple of questions?
sure.
Because I asked you a bunch in an email, and you did respond to me, and I thank you. I didn't print it out, and I was just looking for it. But it seems to me we don't have a lot of affordable units out there that are being managed. Am I reading that
Right,
correctly?
there's 20 in the Regency, although Toll Brothers wants to buy back 3 of them, so he might end up with 17.
Okay.
There's 20 in Avionis, and there is 1 in the Woods right now.
1.
There's supposed to be 2, but they decided to buy 1 back.
All right.
So,
And so that's a policy that the town created.
right,
Okay. And I understand Paul was in charge of that. And I understand that was a big drive during that time to get builders at that particular time to give up some affordable housing. I won't go into that whole thing, but, so why with such few, not being insulting, but why is this worth $15,000 additional dollars a year, and why do we need to manage it? Why do we even need to manage this? This is something we created.
right.
Should we just release them back to the market and get out of this? I don't understand where we are with this whole thing.
Well,
You know?
that's an option. I don't know how we would do that. I mean, it's, the town board created it, so the
I
town
just
board
don't
can
know.
probably end it.
Is it helping people who need affordable housing?
Well,
Because
that-
we know that that's a crisis, you
Right.
know. This is what, 37, 38 homes?
Right, and there could be more if developers come in the future. Everyone's mandated to provide it under the zoning law. So you have a new development that's planned to go in by the Regency, by Sam's Club. They want to build housing there. They do not want to provide affordable housing. So they have worked out a buyout with the town that when they start their process, they're going to pay us instead of actually building the housing.
We don't have to accept that, right?
No.
I don't really know if they have to accept it or not. They have to either provide it or buy it out. I'm not sure if the town can mandate, say, well, we don't want the buyout, you have to provide it.
Well, is that in the policy, you know?
Well, the policy, I'm not sure really talks to that. It says that you can either provide it and get the density bonus, or you can buy it out. I don't know if it says that the town has a policy as who says, yes, you can do that, and who you can't. So that would be above what I do.
Does this
So-
eat up a lot of your time?
It does. When it comes time, when a unit comes onto the market, there's a lot of activity. A lot of people call up and say, oh, I see a unit's for sale for $150, I want to buy that unit. And I'm like, but you have to meet certain criteria, and you can't make more than, say, $62,000 a year as a married couple, and then they say, oh, well, that's not me. We make plenty of money, we just saw this great price on this property.
62
So-
married, and how much as a single person?
I'm just going off memory, I think it's about $54,000 for a single person, and it depends on the family size, 1, 2, 3, or 4 people. So, most of those are geared towards older people, retirees, so it's usually 1 or 2 people.
Christian, may I ask a question? 2022 is coming to a close. How many have you processed this year?
How many applications?
Yes.
I have about 10 active applications right now of people who come in who say they want the housing, so they've applied and give me all their information, and most of them are approved, basically. We're just waiting for units to come available. Only about...
How many units do you get a year?
1 to 3.
1 to 3?
1 to 3, there's only 37, so really you can't expect that many to transfer, but, people end up having to go, and most of the people who live in them, you don't have young people buying these units, so you have people who need to go to a facility, or unfortunately pass away, or decide to, move in with their children, or move away from New York, and then the units become available. I have one right now, and the mother had to go to a facility, so the children are trying to sell the property. So, but then again, I have to go through the list, so for that unit, I had to call everybody on the list. First person says, yeah, I'm on the list, but I'm not interested right now. Second, so then I have to call the second person, the third person, the fourth. I think we're down to the 5th or 6th person who said that they actually want the property. So, but they actually, this lady calls me every 2 to 3 days, and we have these marathon conversations. So she's not sure she wants it, so.
What else do you do, just trying to learn? So a unit comes on and you're notified and you go through this list, but what is your, like, how many hours do you put into that whole process to get someone in to one of the remaining very few units? And you say 3 a year potentially is what you process?
It depends. I think the most we've had would be 3 in a year, unless new ones are getting built, which really hasn't happened in a while. So when Toll was building them, they were building over at Regency. They had 8 buildings. They had a couple units in each building. They were building about 1 building a year. So, every year we have a couple new people going in, and then maybe one of the old units come up. So some weeks I don't have a lot to do with it. Other times, that's all I deal with. There was one unit that the people put the unit on the market with a realtor for some reason, and we went crazy because everybody was calling, trying to get their hands on this property. So it was, every other call was about this unit. So
Christian,
sometimes it's not busy, other times it's crazy.
once you establish that list of 5, 10, 20 people, you establish that list, you have it in a queue based on first, second, third, and fourth. You get one unit that comes up, you go down the list, so that's established. Can you, Louise, who's in your department, can she help with doing this? Can she do some of this work to help you?
Well, she doesn't know how to do it now, because it was either done by, like I said, either John Darcy or Pam when she was there, and now it's done by me.
Yes.
So, but she's got enough work to do. So, I only have one person in my office. I came to the board asking for more people. I had a half person in the budget. In your wisdom, you decided to cut it from me. So my point is, I cannot run an assessor's office with 1.5 people, and I've been telling this, and it's falling on deaf ears. So, when the Great Recession hit, everybody's office said we got to cut people, we got to slim down, we got to do more with less, and that's great. But now every other department in town has added tons of people over the years, except mine. And I can't continue to run my department like this. So my ultimatum to the board is, you have a massive trust fund set up. I will continue to run the program, but I would like some compensation for that, or give the job to somebody else. But really, it should be the assessor who does it. A lot of it runs through my office. I have to make sure that when the deeds come through on the sale, that they have filled out the deed properly. So a lot of times I end up talking to the attorneys for the buyers and the sellers, making sure the deeds are filled out properly. That include the...
Can I say something first?
Just one second. Mr. Gabbard, we could use that money from the Affordable Trust Fund and give him that, we can use that money for that?
Administrative purposes are specifically listed in the code. You could do that.
How much do we have in that affordable housing?
That would be a Sharon question, but last I saw, it was over $1 million.
Okay.
And we're looking at possibly having Toll Brothers buy back 3 more units.
Correct.
And then the developer next to Regency, whenever they decide to build, I believe there's an agreement. When they get their permit, they'll give us a certain percentage of the money, and then when they get their COs, they'll give us the rest. So
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We could have a...
I'm not sure I'm going to agree to buy off the apartment.
Wait, John, let me go.
I have a question.
Go on, John.
Oh, yeah.
So can you explain a little bit more about these buyouts, because it's bothering me?
Yeah.
I mean, we have so few units out there.
Right.
Why are we letting these contractors, these developers, buy these things out?
And who makes that decision?
Exactly.
We do.
Right.
We do.
We make that decision?
There's a,
Well,
yes, yes.
Yes. Well, the town board at the time decided, when they wrote the law, decided to say you could either provide it or buy it out. They didn't give any reasoning why you wanted to buy it out or what you wanted to do. Now, the developer who's building next to Regency is saying that based on, he's only building 28 units or something to that effect, he doesn't think the affordable housing will fit in what he's trying to do there. So he'd rather just buy out his responsibility.
So-
We could change the law to say no more buyouts. That's a different topic, but,
So that's my question to Mr. Gaba. Are we required to allow these developers to buy back their units?
My recollection, and I'd have to go back and double-check the code, but my recollection is the board has the right to turn down an offer to buy out the affordable units.
We created the whole program, right?
Of course.
Yeah, so we can do whatever we want.
Well, we got to do what it says in the program, Brian. You can't just...
Well, meaning we can amend it.
Oh, yes, you're right.
That's what I'm getting at.
right. And when I answered your email earlier, I said the town was under no obligation to create this program.
Right.
The town saw, the housing value skyrocketing and thought there was a portion of the population that couldn't afford housing, so they were trying to do something about it.
Right.
If you look at affordable housing, the town does provide affordable housing. We have the views at Rocky Glen, we have the horizons at Dogwood. I think if you were to look at what the federal government or other agencies require of towns for affordable housing, we're probably already meeting our our requirements with those developments. This was something the town wanted to do on their own. So
We've got two affordable housing units, like you said, Rocky Glen and Horizons, and we've got two two nursing homes, one on West Edge and one on Dogwood.
Right.
So we're doing,
Louise, what were you going to say? I'm curious.
Thank you. So first, I just want to start by giving, am I up?
Yes.
Thank you. If Becky can just clarify for the rest of you that we do have a code, if you were going to say something about the code that we have.
Oh, we have a local law. I was asking Mr. Gabbard if you'd like a copy of the local law that created the affordable.
Oh, no, I have it.
No, for the rest of the board, so we have a local law. And I think, yeah, to everybody.
It's in our zoning code, too.
Well, not, email it so they can have it. I think in the past, the previous, wait till it's done talking. Gotta be patient. I'm trying. In the past, I think the previous boards let the builders buy it out because it's easier for them to buy it out because they don't have to deal with affordable housing and figuring everything out, and they want to make a buck. So, affordable, I think we set it up because we actually wanted to have some affordable housing, but it didn't appear that way because the prior people just continued to let them buy it out and buy it out and buy it out. A couple things. You said that you have no one in your office. You have Louise in your office. She's a full-time employee. So I think personally, I don't know who those other people were, but she's trainable. So why can't you train her to do whatever this situation is?
I didn't say she's not trainable. I said that she has enough to do already.
Well, does she?
So,
because, sometimes I've been in there where she's looking for things to do. So, I'm not really sure if you can delegate a little bit more to see if that would work. But also, you're not a Fishkill employee. For the rest of the board, he works for Wappinger, and we basically rent him from Wappinger. So we pay half of his salary to Wappinger for benefits, car, retirement, and other stuff. So I think that would be something we'd have to look into if we could even hire him, because he's not a Town of Fishkill employee, and that wouldn't be a service that he would be doing for the town of Wappinger.
we can do it. We can do it.
Well, the other question is, I think I heard in there ultimatum, so I don't know.
No, I'm just saying that,
I think I heard it, though, so I don't know if I really like the whole premise of it all. So you've been doing this for 3 years, so why now? Why now all of a sudden is this something that you can't do?
because I'm falling behind in my office. I don't have the personnel that I need to get it done. I will do it. When it comes roll time, I'm here until 10, 11 o'clock at night a lot of nights, working. I'm either in Fishkill or here working like crazy. I'm here on the weekends. So when it comes time to get my job done. But in Wappingers, a town that's, about the same size, I have 2 full-time people. I'm here in Wappingers, I have 1 full-time person. Before I took over in 2007, there was the equivalent of 4.5 people in the office doing the job. Now I'm down to 1.5 people. I don't see how you can expect the office to continue to run at a reasonable level with 1.5 people. No one in this town has 1.5 people in their office getting things done.
Well,
So, and like I said, over time, when 2008 happened and they said, we got to start getting rid of people, and have offices got smaller, because of that, now the departments have gotten huge.
Okay, so you have yourself and Louise, so that would be,
Well, I'm here half the time. So in Fishkill, I have basically a Louise and a full-time data collector.
Okay, now.
It's not enough people, but I have another full-time person, so that we're getting the job done. Here, I don't have a data collector, I don't have anybody else.
Okay.
So, and we were going to bring in a part-time person to get that process started, but then we took it out. So.
All right, let's Becky, let's table this to the next board meeting?
Well, are we going to talk about an executive session next time?
No, tonight.
Oh.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Harkins.
No problem. Thank you.
When you coming back, tomorrow or the next day?
I'm here tomorrow.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Christian.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next up, number 10 is a discussion of resolution to accept resignation of a police officer. The chief sent his letter that he's left in good standing. Is everybody okay with resolution?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Next up is dial-a ride. Everybody okay with resolution on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Next up is agreement for expenditures of the 2023 agreement. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Next up is discussion.
Wait,
Okay.
Becky, good? You good?
Becky, you got it? All right, next 4 is just discussion. All right, the next four just to rename roads. I'd like to know if everybody's okay with these next 4.
Supervisor, just say, because I think people could rename
Yeah, of
it
course.
to dedication.
So what I'd like to propose to the town board and to the citizens of Fishkill that about one of my first year in office, I worked with the county executive, Marcus Molinaro, and we renamed Red Schoolhouse Road, Osborne Road, and Baxter Town Road after three Fishkill residents who served in Vietnam and who were killed in combat. Everybody knows I'm into the veterans and history as a veteran myself. I'd like to propose that we name Route 9 in Fishkill after Sergeant Elijah Briggs, who served in the Civil War and is buried in Fishkill Rural Cemetery, who was a recipient of the Medal of Honor. I'd like to name 82 after Corporal Derek Franklin Bickerhoff. He was killed in Korea. His family's been here since prior to the Revolutionary War. 9D after Private Sidney Schofield. He was killed in the Spanish-American War. That was a real sad event in Fishkill history when you read the news articles. And finally, I'd like to rename Route 52 from the Beacon Line to the East Fishkill Line after Chief Daniel Nimham, the Chief Sackham of the Wappinger Indian, which will go right past the statue. So I'd like to know if I got some board members that are willing to help me do this.
When you say rename, are you saying dedicate? Like-
Dedicate.
Because
I
renaming
apologize.
is a completely different thing.
I apologize. Dedicate.
So the
Dedicate.
dedication is, and when you're saying that, you're saying put a plaque up in a certain area like you
Yes.
did with the other ones?
Yes.
How much would it cost to do all the plaques?
The state would pay for it, from what I understand, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
I think it's cool.
You know,
And these would have to go to our assemblyman and senator to bring it up
I
to
know,
Albany.
but-
They're not your roads, so yeah, you have to ask the others to change the names and, well, dedicate them, pardon me.
I just have a question. I just have a question. Why can't we just like dedicate something or a plaque in our war memorial, so then people can actually come, read it, and see it? I feel like the plaques that are on the road, although it's a nice gesture, people drive by, they wouldn't really appreciate it, read it, or understand it.
I've tried for the last 3 years to gain traction for the war memorial. I proposed Washington Sword, the board
No,
cut
okay,
that
I'm
down.
not- I'm not
So,
talking about a sword.
I don't know what you want from me, Louise.
Okay, I'm not done talking, Supervisor. I'm not going to fall into the trap either.
What trap?
So what I'm trying to say is, I think instead of dedicating roads in these people's names, you can make a plaque, it doesn't have to be expensive, and we can add it to the war memorial so that people can actually gather there, read the paragraph that you sent us about it, and be a part of it in front of them, instead of on a road that's just passing by. So I think that would be a better
I
idea.
tell you what, a lot of citizens see those brown plaques on those county roads and thank me for doing that. So people read them.
Can I ask you, just to get some clarification on this process, maybe, Mr. Gaba? We vote to do this, but it still has to go to the legislature because they own it, and then they have to vote for it, and then they fund it.
Then, and the government, yes, they fund it. So we make a description of what we want on the sign.
Yeah.
So like with the Medal of Honor recipient, I would ask to put the logo of the Medal of Honor on it.
So the biggest expense we have is tonight voting on it.
There'd be paper paying Mr. Gaba to work with the,
Well, we have to make the application
I
still,
understand.
but that aside.
I mean, I think, I don't mean to be a smarty, but I think, people do like to see these things, and I do pause to read them, and these are people from our town, and
Yes.
this is an honorable thing. I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
John?
No, good.
Carmine?
No problem.
So, Mr. Gaba, I understand there's going to be a legislative session. When does the legislative session come where we have to give this to our new assemblyman and our new senator?
It's in the spring. I can't tell you if it's April or if it's earlier than that, but it'll be early next year for sure.
All right, so can I just delegate to you right now to get this done?
Well, I can put the paperwork together. I'll have to work with your office. I'll need signatures.
Okay, so let's get these 4 roads named and let's get the process started.
Okay, you're going to need your resolutions. But
For each 4 of these, do we need resolutions?
Well, you can do them all at once if you have a mind to, but you...
Okay, so, Michael, prepare this for just resolution for the next meeting, for these 4. Thank you, John. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Carmine.
I'm one of those that when I see these signs on the road, this historical signs, I do try to slow down to read them. I do this, and so I love seeing it.
You're that guy.
He's that guy.
I'm a weird guy, whatever.
Hey, nothing wrong with
I
that.
said you're that guy.
I'm that guy, I'm that
All
guy.
right. Next up is discussion of the 2023 holiday schedule. Any questions?
No.
Yes,
Okay, Louise, go on.
I gotta find it, hold on.
Take your time.
Which number? Let's discuss.
17.
17?
Yeah, 17.
What was the issue with this schedule? Because I think there was an issue with the schedule, so.
That's the 2022 schedule, there's nothing wrong with 2023.
What was the one with 2022?
It had been altered.
This water hasn't been.
Was there a day that was different?
I appreciate it, though, thank you.
Yes, and they had a Saturday on there. They altered the document, so the supervisor was kind enough to give us the date that's actually in the resolution, which is December 30th, but that's all 2022, it's got nothing to do with 2023.
So December 22, I see Friday, December 31st, so that's the Friday that you're talking about, so.
Yes, and in the resolution it says Saturday, the 31st.
Like,
So-
nobody can hear you, you might.
Oh, yeah, no, Mike.
No.
No,
Yeah, we do.
don't, it's our holiday, what is the audience, but no, there was, the document had been altered, the resolution was incorrect, and it gave us Saturday off, the 31st.
So, but I think I remember talking about this. So is this that we were saying, what day did you want for New Year's Day, the Friday or the Tuesday afterwards? Is it the Monday
No, no,
afterward?
yeah, so Suzanne did it by the employee handbook.
So you're getting Friday off before New Year's Eve and then
And that's.
then the Monday off after
But that's
January? I'm just
two
saying.
different years, so it's two different, it's apples and oranges.
I know, but I'm just saying, originally, when they discussed it, that's what you wanted, the Friday instead of the Monday.
Right, but now it's, that one is the correct
Okay, so
one.
this list, the 2023 holiday that's listed on here
Mhm.
is correct?
Yes, I had a wonderful pair of eyes help me make sure that those were the right dates. Thank you, Olympia, who always helps me with that.
Okay.
To make sure that I have the right dates.
I'm good.
Any questions? Okay, resolution on that, please?
Yeah, I have to
It's on
do
there.
one for the next meeting,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
So we have to table that and then make and I think I have the resolution already made, okay?
Okay, all right, number 18, the handbook for the medical insurance buyout. Any questions on that?
Did you have an amendment you had to make?
I'm sorry?
Was there an amendment that you
If there's a
made?
resolution, no, that's for the next one.
Oh,
I already made the amendment.
Okay.
In the beginning of the meeting. Next, but that's for consent. Next up, number 19 for consent also, which will be the employee handbook, section 805, medical insurance, and I had to add, earlier in the meeting, we already amended, adding section 805D Delta to be in compliance with the Affordable Care Act. It was just a paragraph added, didn't change anything else. Any questions on that?
No.
Consent? Next up is to discussion of resolution to rename 178 Old Castle Point Road. This is a 911 thing. It's a flag lot with two homes on it. 911 told the guy he has to have a separate name. Mr. Gavin did the resolution. It's in compliance. Any questions?
So it's just one driveway, right? It's not the whole road? that's
No,
just-
it's a lot with two houses on it.
Right.
Driveway with two houses on it.
So they're just renaming it after their last name or something?
No, they're naming it, oh geez, I forgot.
El Dorado.
El Dorado, yeah, it's a cowboy thing. So they need it for 911.
Okay.
So it's a requirement, we really have no choice.
Surprised it did 170, 178.
Yeah, but that's how they have it. So I called the 911 headquarters and
And
spoke.
they pay for whatever?
Yeah, in the resolution, he pays for the sign and it conforms to the signs that we have in the town. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, consent?
Yes.
Next up is discussion of mobile food preparation and vehicle requirements. The state has required some of these food trucks are catching on fire, and we're going to have to talk about adding that to the
You know,
program.
I'm not sure that you do.
You're not sure if we do?
No, I wanted to talk with Joel about this. Certainly, they amended the New York Code of Rules and Regulations. I don't know that it means you have to amend your local code. This may be enough in and of itself. So let me speak with him, and I'll get back with the board, or Joel will.
All right, I'll tell you what we'll do with that. I'll close this out for discussion. Let's close it out.
Just table it.
No, because if it's a resolution, we can go straight to a resolution, right? So close it out. And if he says we have to do it, we'll go straight to a resolution.
Well, it won't be a resolution, Ozzy. You need a local law to amend your code, if
So
that's what it
but
comes
this
down
wouldn't
to.
be a local code law.
I don't think it would be. That's why I say I don't think you need to do anything, but I want to talk with Joel about it. Look, if there's some way it can be done by resolution, we'll let you know. If we need a local law, I'll let you know. I don't think you need to do anything. And I spoke with Joel, and frankly, he told me he didn't either.
Okay,
But we
that's
want
fine.
to talk it out and make sure we're on the
All
same
right,
page.
just close this out, please. Next up is discussion of resolution to amend the fee schedule for the Recreation Teen Center. Any questions on that?
No.
Consent? Next up is discussion of resolution to hire a clerk in Finance Department. Any questions?
Nope.
Next up, consent. Number 24, discussion of resolution to appoint Riccoboni as court clerk. Any questions?
Nope.
Consent?
Resolution?
Yeah, consent resolution, please. Next up, number 25, another town clerk, Ms. Regina Ferrucci. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Consent? Next up is a groundkeeper, Robert Ardisi. Everybody okay with consent on that?
Yes.
Next one is the same thing, another groundskeeper, Angel Sanchez. Everybody okay with consent on that?
Yes.
All right. Next up would be discussion of resolution to authorize CPL Engineering for engineering service of the Bickerloff Merit Water Engineering and Construction. So this is the project that Mr. Tremper has talked to the residents about. In this December of 2019, there was a plan to remediate these problems, and that plan was $5.6 million. I decided to go in a different direction. The first thing we did was remediated the Snook Well Field, which supplied to Toll Brother Merritt Boulevard people. I got that done for about $50,000, and I'm looking to do a pipeline connection, which will remedy a second storage capacity and a second avenue of water in case of emergencies. And I want to use hopefully less than $800,000 in stimulus money. So instead of paying $5.6 million for the residents of the town of Fishkill, they'll pay nothing on this. But to get to that point, we have to do we have to have our engineering firm do a study on this. So that's where I'm at right now. So any questions?
Well, I just had a question, and I spoke with Mike about it and also with Sharon, and they were suggesting that we cross off the part that says the engineering estimate and leave that out and just start with whatever the estimate is going to be for the work done, for them to actually give us something, give us their, wherever their plan is going to be.
No work description? Yeah, no work.
No, so I mean, let them show us what it's going to be first before we get up to the construction estimate. Sharon agreed with that because she thought that this might be even more than that, so it's better to start with just the estimate and have them work on that and then come back afterwards, and once they figure out a more definitive number, come back to the board.
So it's going to cost about $123,000, not including some of the consultant and engineer fees to get this done. And the cost estimate would be about a little less than $700,000 to do this. I've been working on this for over 2 years. We have an opportunity to move on it to close out another health department concern. What specific do you want to know to slow this project down? What do you want?
Wait, what did you just say?
What do you want to do?
Did you just say to slow the project down?
It's going to slow the project down.
Okay, first of all, it's a we, because there's a lot of people that have been working on this, not just a you, and I'm not trying to slow the project down. This was sent to me in an email on Thursday, and it was rushed through, and I haven't really been included on much of the water stuff like this, which I would have appreciated to be more included. I had to ask Mike from Camo and Sharon their input on it instead of being a part of it originally. So I'm not trying to slow it down. It could actually be set through tonight with the engineer starting it with his estimate of $123,620 and take it from there. So it wouldn't slow it down, it would actually start it.
So I have no problem with that. Anybody have a problem with that?
That's perfect.
So I didn't amend this resolution, did I? I already did.
Yeah.
I think you did, but
Yeah.
this you would have to include all the changes. The resolution itself, you're only taking out one whereas, and the other changes to the discussion of the resolution, which has...
I already did that.
You did it already?
No,
What
I don't think
number
we
is
did.
that?
We didn't do it.
I thought at the beginning of the meeting, he mentioned this one was...
No.
No?
We were just
All
going
right.
to talk about
Okay,
it.
so when we get to the resolution, we'll amend it at that time.
It's a separate resolution.
All right, good, thank you.
Separate.
Good, I'll take that. All right. So that's going to be to resolution. We're going to have to vote on that. Next up is this discussion of amending the current time-off policy.
Wait, what are that to?
What number is that?
29.
Do you have the comparison?
So
Oh,
Suzanne,
current time.
so it'll be number 156 on the agenda packet.
Yeah.
156. So basically, I'm sorry.
We did?
You did say that during the acceptance of the
Yeah, I saw this.
agenda, resolution number 9, to remove the...
Becky, can you speak in the mic, because
Yeah,
the residents are
mic.
not hearing what you're saying.
I'm sorry. You did mention that in your amendment. You
Okay.
did talk about changing that language.
Okay, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Becky. So that it'll be moved on then, right? Thanks.
Yeah, we're going to vote on it.
Thank you, Becky.
All right, so Ms. Puma, our HR director, did a study of some comparables, and she sent us an email, which I've attached, and the residents can see this on TV. I just want to get your thoughts on it. What would you like to do? Any ideas?
I mean, I just look at this and I read it, and I have to trust that our director...
Can't hear you, Brian.
I'm sorry?
Mike?
I apologize. I mean, I read it, and it just seems like a thorough work, and it just seems plausible to me, so I wouldn't disagree with it. You know, Suzanne Puma is a professional, and that's a good recommendation.
So would you like to see that for a resolution at the next meeting?
Sure, why not?
Okay. John, any questions?
No. I would just like to take another look at it, just a little bit, to compare. I know we are taking care of the lower end of the new hires to give them a little bit more PTO time, which I agree. I just want to I'm okay putting it into resolution. I might want to tweak it a little bit.
Not a problem.
Okay.
So work with me and Suzanne on your tweaks.
Okay.
I'll take care of that. Councilwoman?
I think it's fine the way it is, and I spoke to her about it. I think she specifically gave it to the newer people because recently the board passed the longevity pay, so she was thinking 1 to 9 years, and then the 10th year, you're going to get $1,000 for longevity, so this is just kind of like to offset what that is, so I think it's good the way it is.
So Michael, work with Suzanne when she's in to present the resolution, and just run it by me and Carmine before we publish it.
Can I, what tweak are you talking about?
Well, no, I just want to look at it one more time. There's a couple of things I saw. I just want to talk to Suzanne. My thing is for us to be more competitive with other towns. We are on the lower scale, we're giving PTO time. And for us to be competitive, we need to offer a little bit more for new hires. And if we don't offer some of this to be competitive, we're not going to get some of the new hires to come to Fishkill.
So Carmine might want to be more generous.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, it feels like, I mean, I agree with that. It feels like she did that, but
Yeah.
I'd be interested in learning what you come back with.
Excellent. All right, so you got me, right, Michael?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Do you think you'd have that resolution ready?
For the next meeting.
Okay.
Let's start the fresh year with it
Oh,
done.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. So next up is a discussion of enforcement of penal code violations, the solicitors. Mr. Galvin, I think we got a solution?
I do. I don't think the board even needs to take any action on this.
That's
I'm
right.
sure you recall that it was discussed in the context of enforcing the peddling, well, the soliciting aspect of the law prohibiting panhandling. And there was a concern that the DA's office wouldn't be willing to prosecute in the event that the police department issued appearance tickets. And that's true. But they have, through this letter and through more recently issued letters as well, authorized the town prosecutor to prosecute those appearance tickets. So I believe, the chief isn't here, but I mean, I believe he's prepared to issue those tickets in the event that he sees members of the police see panhandlers, the town's in a position to prosecute them. You still may have a problem with no-shows, of course, but you do everything you can to enforce it. The only other outstanding issue on that, and it wasn't really prosecution, was the board had discussed possibly reaching out to, for example, Walmart and discussing having them voluntarily make changes.
I actually sent an email to someone in corporate that we have a connection with Joel, so I'm waiting for a reply back from them.
Very good.
Okay. Also, that you suggested that a police officer can do the trial of the case.
Well, we researched that, and there are some older cases that say a police officer can prosecute the tickets that he issued. There are also more recent decisions from the Office of Court Administration instructing justice court judges that police officers shouldn't be prosecuting tickets because it puts them in the position of having to act both as prosecutor and witness for the prosecution, which is a conflict. So the law isn't 100% clear that the police officers can't prosecute these tickets, but just from a good procedure standpoint, you're better off having your town prosecutor prosecute these violations. That way, nobody can complain that the officer is put in a position of both having to testify and prosecute.
Okay, John? Okay, Ryan? So how do we convey that to the chief? You guys just want me to send him an email? We'll do
I've
that?
spoken with the chief already. You can touch base with him, I can touch base with him, but I'm sure that he'll have the officers undertake as vigorous a prosecution of these matters
Is
as
that
he'd
okay?
like.
I would love that.
Just a simple email saying that the
Yeah.
town board.
Go.
Michael, send an email to the chief tomorrow and say the town board would like the police officers to start enforcing the soliciting law, and that the town's justice court attorney will prosecute those cases. All right. Next up is privilege of the floor for agenda items. Anybody can speak right now? Wait, Russ, this gentleman here, you go first. Okay, Russ. Yeah.
Good evening. Two related
Say your name for anybody who doesn't know you, Russ. Russ?
Russ O'Malley, 142 Old Route 9. Has the board heard of any plans to construct a traffic circle around the Chief Ninham? I've kind of heard something about that.
That was like a rumor for like 5-6 years, and when we were putting it up, they did an expedited survey on that, and they said it wasn't feasible even if the statue wasn't going to go there.
Okay.
There's not enough land to do it.
Okay.
So they're not going to do it.
And related to, as far as the plaque discussion, if it does go through and you're going to put them in the various locations, do you think you could put a duplicate plaque of the Ninham one? It's kind of dangerous to cross to read what's on. Isn't there a plaque there on the statue itself?
On this pedestal itself?
Yes. But no, is there one there?
Yes.
There's two of them. There's
right. I thought maybe on the side or a different location, if we could put a duplicate plaque too, so if people could read, it would be easier. Then it's dangerous to cross that.
The easements are state roads. I dealt with the state for over a year just to get permission to put this thing there, the statue there, and it was a pain.
Okay.
But there's a plaque on the front that was originally dedicated to the chief. I think it was 29 or 31. That's on the front of the pedestal. On the back is the new town board plaque dedicating it to him. That's what's there. And eventually...
But as far as Mr. Rai said that he would like people like to stop and read this. If you do put them there, it's hard to read that one, you know?
Yeah, well, that's going to be there for a long time, and we're working with East Fishkill and Beacon in the village to connect that train track that goes past there to the Dutchess County Trail.
Oh, maybe put some.
So that's going to be an attraction for the trail in the future, but it's going to be years. It's not going to be tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Thank you very much. Anything else?
Thank you, Russ.
Sir?
Good evening.
Hi.
Happy holidays. My name is Brian Totora. I recently moved to Brinkerhoff with my lovely girlfriend. Prior to moving to Brinkerhoff, I lived in Beacon Hills. I've also been a volunteer fireman in the city of Beacon for just shy of 10 years, and I plan on continuing to serve my community by volunteering at another agency in Fishkill. I'm here tonight to bring attention and shine a spotlight on a couple issues that have been brought to my attention the past couple months regarding ambulance responses to emergencies, but is becoming ever more concerning these past couple of weeks since I have moved to the Roundabout Fire District, which is covered by Mobile Life. We all know we're dealing with a lack of EMTs and paramedics, you know, a line of work where a lot of people are overworked, underpaid, and understaffed. We're feeling it locally in the town of Fishkill, where about 24,000 people call home. It's my understanding that Mobile Life Support Services will have another contract for another year for the town of Fishkill, and your constituents' tax dollars are being spent for a service that we all expect, but they cannot adequately provide. This is the same company that has settled with the Attorney General's office for shady and illegal balanced billing practices. Mobile Life has not been able to meet the demand of the communities they are contracted to serve when people need help the most. What happens if my father becomes ill, suffers a heart attack, or I get in a car accident pulling out of here tonight? A fire breaks out in a commercial building like Walmart, or someone has a medical emergency in one of the overabundant amount of hotels, one of the many doctor's offices we have in the Westridge Business Center, or a family living in one of the many Toll Brother developments we have. If I myself or another neighbor calls 911 anywhere in the town of Fishkill, am I 100% certain that an ambulance is going to arrive in a timely manner? Are we going to have to wait? Are we going to have trouble breathing, horrible chest pains, or be laying on the floor for 20 to 30 minutes? Am I better off taking an Uber? Should I just drive myself? Just last night in the Brinkerhoff area, there was a call for service, and it took Mobile Life over 20 minutes to get there from Newburgh. We don't deserve that as taxpayers. Why do we not have a unit dedicated just to the town of Fishkill? Why are we sharing one with the village as well? Here's another favorite of mine. Mobile Life has no units available. It's what you can often hear on the 911 radio, seemingly on a daily basis. Calls for service, medical emergencies goes down a list for other mutual aid agencies while the clock is ticking. Hoping that another private ambulance company, a neighboring fire department, even sometimes an ambulance from the next county over can pick up the call, causing a chain reaction that's felt across multiple communities. I feel like you guys are going to go ahead with the contract regardless for another year of poor service. Please pay attention to their response times as close as you can. Put the penalty clause back into the contract and don't keep tabling it or bring it up in the next meeting. These are important issues to me, my neighbors, and other Fishkill Town taxpayers. Life and death. Maybe we all need to meet with the Department of Emergency Response. Something has to be done. It's not just on the Fishkill level that this is all happening. It's, countywide. Look into the options of contracting maybe with another ambulance company, because you cannot put a dollar sign on human life. Also, there's another issue. We don't have a townwide ambulance district that guarantees advanced life support response to Dutchess Junction, Chelsea, and Glenham. This is only covered by Beacon Volunteer Ambulance Corps, which is only a basic life support agency, who also struggles from time to time to get an ambulance out. I'm looking at all the proposed budgets. We have money for everything else. We have a lot of money that's going to the police force, but they're only part-time. Spend a lot of their time dealing with shoplifters and panhandlers at Walmart. More money going into their vehicles. Last time I saw them, they were driving around with brand new Dodge Durangos and Chargers. Money spent, they put new designs on their cars, new logos, letters, and vinyl wraps on all the police vehicles so they all match. Even on the giant command vehicle that just sits there in the parking lot. Does this mean they're going to get a Ford Mustang too? Maybe it's time to consolidate the village and town together with their police departments. Maybe we can set aside some more tax money for a dedicated ambulance for Fishkill that would provide more efficient and timely emergency medical care. Or look into another service provider. People might not be okay with a small tax increase, but I am. $45, it's not much. A tax increase won't kill anybody, but not having an adequate ambulance coverage will. It's only a matter of time. Taxpayers demand better than what is being provided to us, and we are seemingly getting what we are paying for. 20 to 30 minutes for an ambulance? It seems like it's a blatant waste of tax money. I hope nobody has to go through the pain of seeing a loved one begging for help or losing a loved one, especially if it was preventable and could have been dealt with only if an ambulance showed up sooner. Remember, when you need help and seconds count, they'll be responding from Newburgh, New Hamburg, or Poughkeepsie. Thank you.
Can I get a copy of that, sir?
You want a copy? I'll email it to you.
What is your name again?
Brian Tortora.
Brian, I'm Brian as well. You got a second?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. But,
Can talk to him after the meeting.
all right, sorry.
You good?
Yeah. Every point you brought up is stuff that we're very concerned with. So.
Right.
We are concerned with it, but
It's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope. We create a town-wide district, we have to create a separate tax line. The volunteer ambulance corps, there'll be problems with that, so there's a whole host of issues here, and if we take over this unfunded mandate, we're gonna be stuck with it. It's a county problem.
Right.
It's a Dutchess County problem, so that's who should be doing this. And to be honest with you, the right way to do something like this is a town to create its own paramedics corps.
Right.
And have 2 or 3 on standby, but that'll probably cost $4 million a year, and I'll have to raise taxes 50% to get something like that done. That's the right way of doing it. So this is a delicate situation. We had these 2 gentlemen, 3 gentlemen had their concerns, and they had the ambulance corps in their office, and they spoke to them, they hashed some stuff out, so we are taking your concern seriously.
Right.
So, and Beacon does back these guys up too.
Right.
So the level of service, that's what they provided since the 50s, and now everybody wants this advanced service,
Right.
but that's not required anywhere in the state constitution or anything here. So, we are doing our best to make sure we keep the taxes down. You save $45 here, town tax might go up $10, the county tax might go up $10, the fire tax goes up $10, your lighting district $10, your school tax goes up to $100, that's $200 a year cumulative. You know what I mean? And almost every fire department is building a new firehouse, that's an additional tax. So every year, your taxes are going up a minimum of $200. So, and there's a lot of seniors that can't afford to live here, and the area, as you know, you're a local guy, Beacon Hills. The place is becoming gentrified. I'm originally from Beacon. I hardly know anybody from Beacon High School when I graduated in 1984. So we got to try to keep our seniors here, our old families here, and raising taxes and doing these things like that, we have to take that into consideration. But I do need a copy of your letter, please.
Okay. And along with the litany that he just said there, Brian, and not being defensive here, but I wish that that's all our police force did was go to Walmart.
I know they do other stuff, but I feel like they spend a lot of time
there. You have
there.
to see the weekly reports of the many things that they cover. And as far as cars and things like that, it's a rotation. You don't want to keep them until they're breaking down and, a lot of money. So respectfully, I disagree with that point, but everything about EMT, we understand. And next year is going to be a very interesting year for us discovering on how we can improve upon that.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. All right.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor and members of the board. My name is David Cooper. I'm a partner with the law firm Aaron and Steinmetz, representing Toll Brothers on items, I think, 6 through 8 and under B. Just wanted to introduce myself, let you know I'm here. There are a lot of moving parts to the agreement and all the dedications. Any questions, here to answer. I haven't covered it yet, but I just wanted to say, hello, I'm here, and if there are any questions, I can answer.
Thank you for coming. Ann, you want something? After Ann.
Hi, Ann Lagoy. I wanted to mention something about the sign in front of the town, the rec center. I can really empathize with any not-for-profit volunteer organization. We are all really, really struggling. So, and it's scary, if my house gets on fire, I want to know that I am safe and that, my family is safe. So I don't so much, I don't have an issue with utilizing the sign, but I think that it has to be very, very carefully done, because whenever you're assisting in that manner an organization that provides a service to the town, you have to also consider other not-for-profits that are providing service to the town. So, but I think in my experience and the way that we are struggling to find volunteers, anything that can be done, if a service is being provided to a community, really anything that the community can do to provide support and get the word out for volunteers to, join in that effort, I think is worthy. Then I wanted to also mention a couple of comments on the affordable housing question. I remember very well the dismantling of the affordable housing department. That was despicable how that was handled by the previous administration. And it was my understanding, it is my understanding, and it was just confirmed tonight, that there is quite a bit of money in that program that's kind of sitting there. The buyback, and to your comment, it is really unacceptable that any contractor is going to be able to buy back because they don't want to have affordable units. I mean, Christian made the reference to somebody had wanted 28 units and, was kind of boo-hooing that he doesn't have room to put that number of units in, so he needs to buy back the affordable units. Well, scale back your project. I don't find that acceptable in any way. The program was set in place to provide assistance to our residents who need it. There are several housing, I guess, units or whatever, but most of those are for elderly. You know, they're either, independent living or assisted. So one of the topics that came up with the Comprehensive Plan Update Committee was, how do we keep our young people within the community? I mean, unless they're living in their parents' basement, how do young people afford to live here in Fishkill if there is 37 affordable housing units, that's just mind-boggling to me. So I think that, the reference again to the trust fund, and in a sense, it was how he called it. We have the money there. Let's get that affordable housing unit back up and really, address some of these issues. Again, if we keep on pricing our young people out of this town, there goes the volunteers, the volunteer fire department, just various activities in the town. Young people, we need to keep them here, and that is one way that we can do it. So to me, the buyback, and I also remember the town board absolutely has say. So you guys have the power here, not the developer, to decide whether or not you are going to allow somebody to pay off affordable housing. I would really hope that every single board member would recognize the value of keeping affordable housing affordable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
You gotta look into that buyback crap.
Marie Campanaro. Just to comment on the toll agreement. Mike hit on one of the issues that I am a little concerned with. We know that they did videotaping of it, and there were major issues that were found there. They were repaired, and then they were supposed to re-video it to make sure that everything was done right. Now, my understanding from what I've heard tonight and I've seen is that they're not going to re-video it, but you're going to have money that they're going to give you. I guess we'll keep it in escrow for...
No. I think we're going to put it in the sewer district and water district. That's where it's going to go.
My question is, those are very expensive repairs if they have to be made for what was found through the first videotaping. I'd like to stress, I hope that we have enough money that we will be getting to cover any repairs that may have not been really taken care of, that we don't know if they were fully done, because we're not going to re-video it.
Yeah, we took care of two major, that's why this took so long. There was two major pipes that were sewer pipes that were not to standard, and we resolved those issues. And like I said, it's pretty, we're gonna have a nice piece of money at $358,000. That'll be in the water and sewer district. So if there's a problem, we can use that for the repairs.
Okay, as long as we have enough money.
It's your money.
Because those are expensive repairs, and they had to dig very deep, and Mike mentioned how far down they went. And they were crushed pipes, there were major things that were found there. So.
And there was one that was paid for by the homeowners association, and in this agreement, Toll's going to reimburse the homeowners association for that repair.
That's my major concern, is that we have enough money to cover anything if something should happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Next up is consent agenda. Consent agenda. I'll present that as a motion to accept the consent agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
Carmine, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next up is resolutions. All right, I'm gonna start talking. Okay, the first up would be resolution A308, resolution to amend the fee schedule, Recreation Department, Teen Center. Is it okay just to do resolves, guys?
Yes.
All right. So this is for the fee schedule for the Recreation Department Teen Center. Now therefore it be resolved, the town board as follows. Section 1, all above whereas paragraphs incorporated herein are referenced through set forth in full. Section 2, the town board hereby amends the town fee schedule for the Recreation Department Teen Center as attached. Section 3, the town supervisor shall take any and all actions necessary to carry out the provisions. Section 4, this resolution shall be effective immediately. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Louise, all in favor?
Aye.
Next one is to adopt a capital plan. This is our yearly, what we're going to do, like Mr. Tremper said earlier, what we're going to fix and build throughout the course of the year. This is routine. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby amends and adopts the capital plan for the fiscal year 2023 through 2027 as attached. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
And next up is the resolution authorizing the settlement of a lawsuit brought by Paragon Environmental Construction. This project was dealt with a salt shed project. That was two pieces, the salt shed, and there was a gas station that we rebuilt, and there were some issues, and the town board has decided to resolve this issue instead of spending hundreds of thousands in litigation. This is going to be about $37,000 in total to take care of this. Now therefore be resolved as follows, that the town board hereby approves the attached stipulation of settlement to the town supervisors authorized to execute the same and any documents necessary to carry out the items therefore in consideration for the sum of $37,000 and other good and valuable consideration. The receipt sufficiently, which is hereby acknowledged. I'll present that as a motion. Can I get a second?
Second. Second.
Carmine, all in favor?
Aye.
Next up is to rename a side road off a main road, a private road. 911 requires this if you're not on the main road. So we're going to name the name, this will be resolution to rename 170A Castle Point Road. That the name El Dorado Place is hereby approved for the private drive located in the subdivision for Lot 1, parcel ID 133-089-5956-04-923128-000, Lot 2, parcel ID 133-089-5956-04-94606160, and number 2, that the town clerk is hereby authorized to notify Dutchess County Real Property Tax Service and Dutchess County Department of Emergency Response of the same. I'll present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Louise, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, this next one is going to be a Toll Brothers
Do you
one.
have a discussion of it?
Yeah, we could talk. Okay, this is, Mr. Gaba, can we give a little update to the board of what this one is about?
This is the resolution on the agreement with Toll Brothers. Toll Brothers and the town had a dispute over certain water and sewer service fees. You've reached an agreement under this in regard to the amount to be paid. It's going to be $352,613.27. There are also a number of other matters that Toll has undertaken to perform, payment of fees to KMO, replacement of a security fence, payment of the homeowners association for work that they did, et cetera, as is set forth in the agreement. The agreement provides that if the town enters into this agreement, it will become obligated upon performance of all obligations in here to accept the offers of dedication for Fishkill Woods and for Van Wyck at Merritt Park.
So I have a couple of issues with it. First of all, I have not been involved in this, and this was just sent out on Thursday, so we are just becoming aware of it now. Whoever has been working on it for a long time was not the entire board. This says that the town of Fishkill has received offers of dedication in regard to water mains and sewer mains located in the village or within the Fishkill Woods residential subdivision and Van Wyck at Merritt Park. As we heard Mike, our water contractor tonight, say, the sewer mains at Fishkill Woods should not completely be dedicated. So if this is going to be something that we agree to, this needs to be verified to say that we only are dedicating the part that he said that was near BGB, not the entire part of it for the sewers.
Well, I think Paul Bozek came and visited you on this, Ozzy. He told me he was going to anyway. There's a portion that's actually leading from, I believe it's Route 52 to the property that's going to be dedicated. And then the main itself is going to be dedicated, but not the sidelines. There's an issue with the sewer pumps not being built.
It doesn't say that here, so this makes it sound like
No, it doesn't
generally...
offer of dedication, though.
Yeah, it's right, it says it. Sorry.
Okay, well, I'm not done yet. So this is a general statement. So if you're reading this, you would think that we are accepting the water, the sewer mains for Fishkill Woods, all of it. So it was not clearly stated or anything attached to say that. So if this is going to move forward, then that needs to be specified so that we know that we're not accepting the sewer mains completely. Also,
Let's stick with this one resolution.
it's the same resolution I'm reading from.
Is it-
So that's the first thing.
Okay.
So the first thing is, if you're going to move forward with it, this needs to be more clearly defined as to what we're specifically going to have dedicated to the town, not the entire sewer mains, like you said, specific areas, because that's not written in here. On page 304 of the agenda packet, which is the third page that was in there, it specifies all of the things that Toll agrees to, which is they shall pay Camo for $25,920, and it tells all the things that Camo had to do. So I just want to stress that. Camo had to do those repairs, that Toll Brothers did not do those repairs. We had a meeting in the beginning of the year in January where we had to authorize the supervisor to potentially spend the taxpayers' money to fix any emergency things that would happen because Toll Brothers did not take care of it the way they should have taken care of it. So I agree that we should have a camera scope before we accept this. Even though this is $352,613 that they're going to be paying us, that is not just to pay us. That's money, and that's an agreement. They owed a lot more than that, and this is an agreement. This is for money from 2015 through 2017 that they failed to pay. For water irrigations at Merritt Park, Creekside, Gladsbury, all of those years. So I don't think that the people who live there should have to use that money for any potential things that could have to be fixed. So I think they should add in here that they're going to do a camera scope and they'll pay Camo or whatever company it is to do that. Because if it's more than that, then we need to come back to the table. What if it's more than that? Who knows? Mike said there could really potentially be serious issues that are down there. So to just say we're okay with spending the money that they're going to give us, I don't think is acceptable. If you go to section 3 on page 304, it states, upon Toll tendering total payments to the town and making the repairs identified above in section 1B, which is Toll shall completely replace the security fence and gating around said sewer lift station. C, Toll shall repair the sewer connection at 746 Huntington Drive, and C is Toll shall repair and D is Toll shall repair the Van Wyck Meadows one condominium association in the amount of $6,091.81 for repairs to 811 Huntington Drive. Once they shall accept the offers of dedication at the next town board meeting. That is, once we receive total payment of that. So I don't really think that any of these dedications should even be talked about tonight. They should be moved to another meeting when we get proof of payment from Toll that all of these things have been taken care of. Because quite frankly, I don't trust Toll. They haven't been very good to deal with in the past, and I'm concerned for the residents who live there that there may be more issues if we don't make them pay and show us that they paid first before we move to the dedications.
So Mr. Gaba, this is contingent to go into effect once they pay?
Yes.
Okay.
This agreement says that they have to pay, and we won't.
Does it go into effect until they pay?
No, this says we will not accept the dedications until they pay. It says, upon tendering total payments to the town and making the repairs identified in the above sections, the town shall accept the offers in dedication at the next town board meeting. So that would be the meeting following when we receive payment from Toll. I don't understand why we would even contemplate accepting any of these offers of dedication tonight without payment and proof of payment and proof that they did all of those things. And I know I'm probably going to hear from the attorney that this is the way things go, and once it's don't worry, they'll take care of it and then it'll go into effect. Well, I am worried, and I don't think we should do it that way. I think they should pay up first and then we can dedicate it.
Well, the offers of dedication are contingent upon full performance. So until they perform, then the offers of dedication aren't effective. But if the board would like to have the agreement performed first, certainly that's within its purview to do. If the board is concerned that, now the reference in this to offers of dedication that are to be accepted is specific to the offers of dedication that are before the board, which have in the maps attached to them reference only to that bit of line off of Fishkill Woods and the main. So by reference, that's what it's talking about. But if the board isn't comfortable with that and wants a specific reference in the agreement, certainly the agreement can be amended, put it off to your next meeting, and we'll make the changes.
Wait, so you're saying, first of all, this wasn't, whatever that map is, was not attached to it?
I think your first concern, that is not clear, that, I can accept that.
Yeah, the map was not attached, so you're saying that we're going to...
The map is
The map's
attached to the
attached
offer
to
of
the-
dedication.
Yeah, the map's attached to the offers.
Okay, so I'll backtrack. The map is attached now to the offer of dedication, but in order to receive that dedication, we would have to abide by this agreement. This agreement states that we are accepting the sewer mains from Fishkill Woods. It's not clear that we're only accepting the portion of the sewer mains. This makes it sound like we're taking the entire sewer
Right,
mains.
I understand your concern on that. It is clear in the offer of dedication. If you want to incorporate a sentence into the agreement saying that it's just that portion, it certainly can be done.
And if you want to amend it now by writing it in, that's fine. The parties, it's not our intent.
Well, there was
to,
also
you know,
a concern about scoping the lines
Yeah.
mentioned, so they may want to.
Well, I mean,
That's
that
different.
was,
Yeah, that's different. That's a
Well,
whole
that is,
lot.
that's why we may need to put it
Yeah.
over.
Well, I don't believe that that's going to get us, I don't believe that's going to get us to a resolution at that point.
So why won't you scope them? I'm just curious.
comment?
So wait, can you,
We-
I don't know if you want to hear him. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, go ahead.
My
No, it's
question-
okay. Is there a question for us?
My question was, why won't you scope them? To make sure that when you are leaving this development, which there has been a lot of problems with through the years, that you won't do the right thing and scope it and make sure that you're leaving it in good hands.
It was scoped, right?
That was scoped, I believe Mike said that was years ago.
It wasn't 8 years ago what he said. It was scoped, and then that was how we found the punch list. That was what identified the punch list of the items that Toll Brothers had to undertake. Toll Brothers undertook, I think, $200,000 worth of upgrades to the line over the last 3 years. This is not
Okay.
not an old, let me finish because you
Yep,
asked me the
go
question.
ahead,
This is not an old line. This is a new repaired line. The issue of whether or not another scope has to occur, it's, Toll Brothers is saying, look, you're getting the money to upgrade the line or repair the line from here on in, like a sewer district does, right? That's what the sewer district is supposed to do. That's what an offer of dedication is the purpose is for. If you keep on scoping and keep on asking the owner to scope, this will never end, right? The whole purpose of this agreement is to put all of this to rest, right? What Steve and I have been trying to do for the past, I'd say, 2 years or so is, well, at least I have, right, but, right,
Yep.
is figure out a way to reasonably end all of this. Get these lines dedicated so that they can be taken over by the town as they were always intended to be, both for Fishkill Woods and for Merritt, as well as resolve this outstanding issue about the payment. And there are a lot of moving parts, no question. But the best way to do it is to memorialize it in an agreement, because it's like a chicken and egg game, right? You're saying, okay, well, you make the payment and then we'll dedicate. And we're saying, well, you accept the dedication and then we'll pay. You're never going to get to the end unless you come up with a reasonable solution, which Steve suggested, which is make the offers of dedication subject to the payment. That way we know, okay, you've accepted the dedication, you're going to go forward on the dedications, but it's not official until we pay. And that way you know, look, we're not taking these lines until you pay.
Okay.
And frankly, I think this has been going on for 2-3 years. I've been involved for 3 years. And it's going to clean up a situation and is going to finally close out both of these two developments so that they can be properly managed and the town can take over it.
All right, wait, I just want to finish with that, because you actually said that, I believe Mike, he's our water person, so he said that he thinks it should be scoped again before it's taken over. I hear what you're saying, that it was scoped and that you made these major repairs, but the major repairs had to be made because they weren't pitched right to begin with when they were put in. So it's not like something happened that was the people's fault. It was Toll that didn't actually put those things in correctly. So they fixed them after it was scoped. So I would just think that the right thing to do would scope it again to make sure that you're leaving that development in good standing. This money should not be used for future repairs. This money is because you didn't pay the water that you should have paid originally from 2015 to 2017. I have not been a part of this. I wish I was, because I don't think it's right. So if you're not going to add scoping to this, I have an issue with it, and I definitely don't think anything should be dedicated until you actually show us proof of all of the things that are actually on here.
Guys, I think she makes a good point about making that resolution clearer, that we're not going to take the entire Fishkill Woods District. I think that's what I'm willing to do. Are you guys okay with that, or you guys want to go further? Because this is going to take another year to finish all the way this is going.
Why would it take another year? Why wouldn't you just do the right thing?
We've already had these discussions. When Toll Brothers is not going to re-scope the line for a third time, right? What we have done is, under our obligation, under the HOA agreements, is offer for dedication, right? That's their last obligation under the offering plan. They could, please, let me finish.
Yeah.
They could just submit the offers to you tonight and walk away, but that's not what they're saying they want to do. They want to close this out like a good neighbor. And so, if you say, no, you got to scope it again, you got to spend the $100,000 or however $200,000 that it's going to cost to scope, you're not going to have a partner anymore in these discussions. They've been patiently trying to get to this night.
Okay, so.
Yes, no, I agree.
You
I'm
finished?
not saying, yeah.
Are you finished?
No, I'm not
Okay.
finished yet, because I
Yeah.
just want to amplify that, is to say,
Yeah.
absolutely. We are standing tonight, thankfully, at a great resolution that's reasonable in my eyes, respectfully, that gets us both comfort and gets us through what has taken 2 years to get to. And if we go back to the table and start negotiating over more scoping and more repairs, it's going to fall apart. I can just tell you now.
So I would just like to say, if you were a good neighbor, you wouldn't have left this. Mike had to make all these repairs because you guys just left it high and dry. So, I mean, I don't know if you're such a good neighbor. And Toll Brothers is building in our town. So to just kind of say like, haha, if you don't do it tonight, we could just leave it on the table is a little disrespectful to the entire town. Since you're a developer that builds in our town, seriously? So I take offense to that, because like, you're building in our town, you should be building quality places for people to live and making sure that the water and sewer is installed properly, not just some off the cuff, we're like, we're not going to do it again, so, it's been a year or two. Well, so what? So you can wait another 2 weeks and fix it and make it right. That's what I think. So if you're not going to scope it, I'm disappointed, and I hope that the development you're building up the road is going to be put in correctly, and all the other developments that you put in our town are going to be put in correctly, because I have a son, so 10 years from now, he might live in one of these developments and be dealing with the same issue, because you could have the same people who are installing these things. I certainly hope not, but they could, for all I know, because it's a little bit off the cuff the way you're talking, and so if you're not going to scope it, I'm not for it.
May I ask you a couple questions? Thank you for coming. You're saying scoping costs a couple $100,000 to scope all these lines?
Yes, I believe so, because the first time they did it, yeah.
Yeah, so it costs, and how many times have you scoped the lines?
I don't know, because I haven't been involved since, I think it was 2003 when they were approved, but I know at least one prior time, because they needed to do that to get the punch list together.
Do you know when the last time it was scoped? I know Mike said 7 or 8 years, you might think it's been earlier than that.
My understanding was 2021, but I don't, whether it was 2021, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I don't know, so don't take my word for it.
Sure, if it was scoped in 2021, which is fairly recently, it'd be great to see if we could see that report or something you could share with us.
You have it, because the project manager for the town that's been with this project the whole time was the one that reviewed it, or at least came and gave us the punch list. This is not, the town has it.
So Paul or Joe?
Imagine that.
Guys, it's either, we're either going to, you heard what the guy said, Mr. Toll Brother representative said.
Cooper.
Mr. Cooper. Okay. If we're not gonna do this unless it's contingent for the scoping, then this deal is dead.
Does the scoping really cost that much? I don't think it does.
So the only thing I think this is a good deal. I've been working on this for over 2.5 years. The 2 major lines that have problems have been remediated. We're gonna get $358,000 total. We're going to put that in the water and sewer district for the Merritt Park water and sewer districts. I understand her concern that it's not clear enough with the appendix. We can add that to the resolution. But if you guys don't want to do that, what are your suggestions? Because if you want to add that scoping thing, this is going to get thrown out the ground, thrown away.
How long will it take you to make payment to the town, to CAMO, and to the HOA?
The checks are being prepared. I mean, frankly, we're ready to have them, tonight or whenever, so that's not, you're not
So
going to be waiting very long.
everybody can be paid tomorrow, is what you're telling me?
No, well, I shouldn't say that, because it's not fair, because the client actually has to cut the checks, but they are ready to cut the checks. This is not something that we think was going to take much longer, right? Their expectation is, we're ready to make that payment, and I think ready to make the payment to CAMO and get a payment in full so that they can do the work.
And that one homeowners association for the repairs they make.
Well, the first repair, 471 or 741, I think?
There was two of them, one you fixed
Yeah,
and the other one.
the first one's already done. The second one, it's a payment of $6,000. They're
That's
ready to
it,
make
yeah.
that pay.
And you're gonna pay that?
Too. Yeah. Not yet, but they're ready. Well, we got to enter the agreement first, but yes.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
So we're only entitled to this $350,000 if we accept this agreement? No?
Well, there's a dispute over payment of fees, and this is the resolution of
Right.
that. So now, this is a number that's been agreed upon. If you don't enter into this agreement, it's still subject to possibly even litigation.
Got it.
So, I mean, this solidifies that number, is what this does.
Okay.
But it's not like it goes away
So-
altogether.
So in theory, if they walked away from the deal, we could still recover water and sewer fees, if we wanted to go that direction.
Yeah, the amount is problematic, though.
Right.
But that would be a lawsuit,
Probably
for
likely,
us
yes.
against Toll, and then Toll can walk away from the dedication of the sewer lines.
And look, that's not what we're trying to do here.
I know you're not.
It's really, it's.
What if
So we're not going to find out that once we sign this agreement, that we got another $500,000 that was not looked at 6 months from now?
In August of this year, we received a email that I think some members of the town were also on, from the project manager indicating, well, the only thing that's left are the whatever it is, 7 or 8 items that are in that settlement agreement. That's what's left in order to close this out, to make this, make the lines acceptable for dedication. Right, that's it. And in the settlement agreement, as it says, CAMO will perform that. In fact, I think they've already started to perform some of those repairs. CAMO will complete all that, Toll will pay for it, and that's it. It'll be done.
Okay.
Can we look at this scoping report in between now and the next meeting, change the verbiage as we talked about, but, I mean, the report we have, I mean, just take a peek at it and.
You guys are welcome to see Mr. Bozak anytime to review that, That's not a problem, but I think we should fix the verbiage to make clear that Fishkill Woods is only being taken care of to that one point, and then we move on it.
So if I may, this whole thing, putting together Mr. Gaba, supervisor, was very confusing to this town board.
Yeah.
We were just given this. It took me some time to look at this, and this is some of the stuff I do for a living. So it all come out at once. Being new town board members, I was elected this year, so I had to do some catching up. I talked to Paul and Joe, our in-house consultants, so there's a little bit more due diligence I need to do on my end. This is not a bad offer. If scope was done in 2017, 18, or 19, I'm okay with that. If it was done 10 years, 12 years ago, I might have an issue. The verbiage is not clear. It's not. So I would just like one more meeting to look at the verbiage. Everybody do what they feel that needs to be done. We probably will accept this based on some of the things, but I think I need to do a little bit more due diligence on my end to make sure that I understand everything.
I mean, you can appreciate that. I understand you guys have been working on it for 2 years, but we've been on the board 1 year. And it's just like that, all of a sudden, boom, accept this, and we're like, hey, we haven't had time,
Hey, you guys ran for office. No, I'm just joking. I understand. And so that's why I came tonight, to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah.
Look, of course, I'm sitting here or standing here saying, but please, let's get this done, because in my mind, yes, it's been 2.5 years.
All right,
But we need you to be comfortable with it.
All right, so
That's
just-
fine.
We want to get it done too.
Yeah, no, I'm getting that sense too. I'm just.
So this was number 5. So just state it, so you have any problems with number 6? Or they're all, you want to table all of them?
I want to table all of them until we receive proof of payment.
Let's table December 21st, yes. Table number 5 till then, just a resolution. Mr. Galva's going to rewrite the...
Yeah, that's what you're tabling. If we're not just proof of payment, we'll do a red line, I'll submit it to the board. You can talk with Kamo, you can talk with Paul to make sure that, there's no question about the need for further scoping or anything along those lines. And then we'll come back at the second meeting in December, and the board can act on the resolutions.
I have no idea.
Great.
Okay, and then number 6, accept the off dedication, so we'll table that also to the 21st?
No, 6, 7, and 8 should be tabled until we receive proof of payment. That's when they
I
should
am
be
working
tabled
on
to.
number 5, I just got on to number 6.
Yeah, but 6, 7, and 8 are all dedications.
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Regarding this.
Haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay, I'd like to table.
Do you have any questions on number 6, so we don't come back next week that you have a question with number 6?
No, all of my, well, let's see, which one is that? That's the water main and sewer mains at Van West. No, my only issue there is to receive proof of payment before it's dedicated. That's my only issue with
That's
that
number
one.
6. Number 7, resolution accept dedication of water mains. Now, number 7, I think we already did this, right? Did we already do this? Has the water lane's already been dedicated in Fishkill Woods? I see a signature from Ms. Pagonis on this.
Not all of them, and that's why. So we did a title report, I think it was now about 2 years ago now.
Okay.
And it indicated that portions of that water line are actually were not included in the original dedication many years ago. I was not involved in it.
So you missed some?
Yeah, so whatever it was, yeah, so this is just a
you okay
cleanup.
with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll keep that, we'll also table that to the 21st.
I thought, let's table them till proof of payment.
I am waiting, just let me finish, and let me get to number 8.
But you just said you're tabling it till the 21st.
21st, yeah.
No, he's not going to pay us by the 21st. The next meeting, we're going to sign the agreement.
Can you
And
come
then-
with some checks on the 21st?
Hey, if you want it, then you can.
Not from my personal account, but I'll ask my client, yes.
No cash, no cash.
Yeah, right.
Is that a possibility?
Look, I will speak with the client. If the board is comfortable with that, and the client's comfortable with that, then yes, I can let Steve know if that's the...
Submit the checks in escrow if nothing else.
Maybe that's the way to do it, is just escrow. Yeah, that's fine.
Where you'll have your money and you can move forward.
Divvy it up to the people.
All right, so let's also, dedication sewer mains in Fishkill Woods. Number 8, table the 21st.
Number 8, the sewer, that's when it has to be corrected. You're adding the specific area of the
Number
map
8,
that
Mr.
you
Gallo?
gave us.
Yes, we're going to put in yes, we will. Yes.
Yeah, so you'll specify that.
Instead of referring to section B, which refers to the map, we'll make it clearer.
Thank you.
Thank you, good to see, that was it, right? That
And
was
that's
the last
number
one.
8, right?
Okay, so you guys talked to Mr. Bozak about that scoping stuff. Let me know if you're for or against it.
Yeah.
Because if you're against it, then I'll let him know, and
Thank
that'll
you.
be the end of this.
Yeah, thank you very much, good to see you.
Thank you for your time. All right, next up, there's resolution to authorize CPL Engineering to perform an engineering design for the Bickerhoff water system improvements.
Yeah, as amended, fine.
As
That's the
amended?
one we amended, yeah.
That's when we took off the whereas.
Yeah.
You guys okay with that?
Yes.
Now, okay, so this would be to perform a design for the Bickerhoff well system. This is the one in December of 2019, the town's plan was a $5.6 million plan. We're going to do this with stimulus money, hopefully at no cost to taxpayers. So I've been working on this for also 2-3 years. Yes, yes, it's very tiring.
Well, I didn't say anything, Supervisor. I'm just referring to the I, because there's a we in the board. So in the end,
Really?
no matter what everybody is working on, it can't get done unless the board approves it. So that's all I'm saying.
I got it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
got
sure
it.
you have it.
Spent 3 years on this, and I'm sure you're willing to vote for it.
You wouldn't let me work with you. I would work with you from day one, but you wouldn't let me, so.
You got to come to town hall to work with me.
No, I don't. You can email me,
I
but I'm not
gotcha.
going to fall into your trap again, so
We'll-
finish
we'll
up
do
your
it on
meeting.
Zoom, and we'll
Yep,
talk and
finish
have-
it up.
have cookies and
Wrap
stuff.
it up.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Now therefore be resolved, the town board as follows. Section 1, all whereas paragraphs incorporated herein by reference to those set forth in full. Section 2, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby approves or authorizes CPL for the engineering services of the town of Fishkill Bickerhoff Water District Improvement Project. Section 3, the matter constitutes a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act is as much the project involves improvements of the utility distribution center, including gas, electric, telephone, cable, water, and sewer to render service approved subdivision 6-6 NYCRR subsection 617.5 parentheses, C-11, as much as this project is not subject to review in the State Environmental Quality Review. This resolution shall be effective immediately. I'll present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Carmine. All in favor?
Aye.
Big savings to the residents in these water districts. Millions. Okay. Next up for items of special considerations, which we have none, new and old business, Councilwoman Daniele.
So for old business, I am pleased to announce that after months of hard work and collaboration between myself, Councilmember Isvan, and Greg, we have worked with Central Hudson to get the approval to be able to launch our Town of Fishkill Hometown Heroes banner program, which will begin next spring. I'd also like to thank Gina from the East Fishkill Supervisor's Office for all of her guidance on the process. We will purchase banners that look like East Fishkill's along with the necessary brackets. This program is to recognize veterans who have lived in the town of Fishkill. We will be sending a flyer in our weekly e-newsletter on Friday. With this being our first year, capacity is limited to the first 100 applicants. So please submit your information based on the information in our flyer. We will be working to finalize our costs, but it will be approximately $250 for a double-sided banner and brackets. And Greg will put that into the e-gov, and that'll have the flyer in it with specifics.
Carmine.
I'm good, thank you.
John.
I'm good.
Brian.
I'm good.
All right, town board. We want to go into a quick executive session to discuss what you want to do. What was it?
Personnel.
Personnel matter. There'll be nothing discussed after, no votes or anything like that, just a quick discussion. Thank you for watching. The next town board meeting will be December 21st at 7 o'clock here. Have a good evening. I'll make a motion to leave the regular course of meeting, go into executive session. Can I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, good night.